Season on a limited basis, ruptured his Achilles twice last year since being traded to the Browns in 2022. Watson has played only 19 games because of injuries or suspension. Handful of Browns missing practice on Wednesday because of injuries. Devin Bush dealing with a foot injury. Jack Conklin still in concussion protocol. And Dylan Sampson was out with a sore calf. The Browns already saying that Wyatt Teller not going to play Sunday against the Titans because of a calf injury. Bad night for the Cavaliers. Lose at home to Portland, 122-110. Head coach Kenny Atkinson, how outside Evan Mobley, the defense, not that great.
Obviously, defensively, we weren't very good. We're really good with Evan on the floor. Evan was phenomenal. That was a defensive player of the year. He literally held this ship together, gave us a chance.
Speaking of Mobley, he had a double-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell had a game-high 33 points, but the Cavs lose for the fourth time in 5 games. Guardian signed relief pitcher Connor Brogdon to a 1-year Major League contract on Wednesday. It's $900,000. Last season with the Angels, Brogdon was 3-2, 5.55 ERA. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show, followed by Thursday Night Football. All begins Saturday at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
We're going to activate Deshaun's practice window, so he'll be out there today, which is outstanding for Deshaun. He's been working so hard.
Anthony Lima's walked into the room.
Ken Carman standing at the door laughing.
What?
Can he pull up a chair?
The window is open. I said it was getting kind of drafty in the room on Sunday. It's open.
Yep,
the window is open. Do we have a quarterback controversy again here in Cleveland?
Turn those machines back on.
Let's go. Now we got the Shador Mania. We've got the Deshaun Watson Warriors. And then Dylan Gabriel's got a few family members. And it is on. Let's go. This is a big week for Shador against Tennessee.
Ken, what do you think? Is he back?
You guys know the answer to that. He's going to play this year.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I take it back. I got caught up in the hoopla. He ain't playing this year. I take it back. 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 Flip flops. I'm on the beach. Flippity flop. Floppity flip. I'm taking it back. No way. He ain't playing. Nah. He ain't playing.
I'll tell you, nobody reacts to quarterback news like we do.
Nobody. They
could do a press release with Snoop Huntley, a trade, something. We'd go nuts.
Well, no, I don't think anybody reacts to basically anything the way we do. I mean, what was the 4D chess that I yelled at? You literally thought it was a big deal. It ended up being like Cade York to the practice squad.
Yeah. Well,
I had you going.
Yeah, we were in the hallway yesterday. We were walking around. Of course, I'd just done the podcast with my buddy Dan Dockich.
We were bebopping and scatting.
And you showed me, you said, well, tomorrow's show is done.
Yeah. I go, well, the show's over, and I put it right in his face.
That was it. Show's over.
Oh, we got other things we got to get to.
And then today I'm like, what are we doing today?
Well, because first I'm like, oh, God, he's playing. Then I go, he ain't playing this year. To hearing Kevin Stefanski's comments, I go, nah. No. It really has to go to a real. Well, I think there's a lot of people going, Kenny, I think you're lying to yourself. It's going to go to a real bad place. It has to go to a really bad place for him to play. But I'm open-minded. So I have treated him like the boogeyman all this year, and I think you're going to claim not guilty because you're a slippery wizard. You're just as guilty as anybody because, again, you have acted as if he is. You've used him as a threat to the fan base in so many ways. And I blame you for that squarely on your shoulders. But I think that the more that they've lost, the more that I think people have kind of been like, whatever. And I thought, man, you don't want to put him out there. I will take it to my grave that, yeah, there were some people cheering the injury, but there weren't that many people. The mics were just kind of close to some of the people. And so many people were going, Ken, you're full of it. You're full of beans. Okay. Still, the perception is that you cheered when he got hurt. And you got 3 more home games. Yeah, you got 3 more home games coming up. I don't think you could put him back out there at home. But I think that I want to hear the people out on, do you even care anymore if he plays? Is there a morbid curiosity to see him play? and maybe just kick the tires on one more little, can he do it, can he not do it? They still owe him $46 next year. I said he could very well end up being, Mary Kay, and we'll have her on at 8:20. She said 2 weeks ago he is going to be on the roster next year. He's going to be on this team next year. There's going to be no post-June 1st designation or anything like that. And I'm going, man, he might end up being, we've been talking Mac Jones and a couple other guys. He might end up being the most expensive bridge quarterback that you've ever seen in the NFL. And I wonder, do you give it one more look-see before the end of the year? So, guys, I'm not going to shout you down or anything like that. I'm going to be very reserved here. I don't think he's playing again. I think this has a lot to do with the players' union. I think this has a lot to do with the ramifications of he is a player in good standing with the NFL, with the players' union. They don't want to have to go through any of the rigmarole on any of the legalities on what could possibly be in his contract. I don't think he wants to go through any of that. So I really think that this is probably procedural. Is that the word I'd like to use there, Tone? You're the one that took the LSAT.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it is. It's hard for us because the Browns, and part of it is they've been under no obligation to really share any of like the insurance stuff that was being reported on a year ago.
You said no obligation?
Yeah,
they're really not.
Like, do you remember when, there was Pro Football Talk and then everybody was running wild with, the Browns could magically get out of some of the contract with insurance and the cap ramifications might be lessened because of this. And I'm like, yeah, but he's going to be healthy. And insurance companies don't tend to bend over backwards to pay out claims when the guy is showing videos every day that he can do backflips and he's fine. Like, he looks like he could have played football 2 months ago. Now, play football well or continue playing at the level that he was playing at,
He hasn't really ever played good football here except for one half.
Yes. So you said the morbid curiosity thing. Yeah, I'm one of the guys in town that was screaming and yelling to upgrade in our Super Bowl window, and everybody at the time agreed that he was
in a different Super Bowl window, and he's back.
Yeah, there you go. And so obviously I was leading the charge to go get him, and then the guy I saw compared to the guy that I was salivating over, I don't recognize. And that was before the injuries. And so now he's had how many surgeries since then? So that's the curiosity, like, I'm almost 99.8% sure that he's done, that he could never be a starting quarterback again in the NFL. But you notice I didn't say 100%. And maybe that's just my stubbornness. Like, how could I have ever wanted somebody who's this bad? So I'm like, maybe, even though you and I both know if he goes out there again, he's not going to be good.
Well, and I got to tell you, I got to go back through this, is that I think there's been a lot of, and this is where I got to tell you, we talk a lot about Shedeur here in this city. I want to be careful because you've highlighted the lack of attendance with Shedeur. And I know the weather took a turn. We are in a deep freeze here, and I looked at the weather. It seems like we're not going to get a thaw at all here for any bit of time. And Sunday, I think it's lightened up on the snow element of it and the rain element of it, but it's going to be cold. And it has not met the gate receipts, I think, that we've thought that it would have meant. And I'm thinking, okay, Shedeur does have a very large national fan base. They're not flying in to see him, at least.
No, not the way they were to Boulder.
Not the way they were to Boulder. There were major stars standing on the sidelines of stage and screen at Boulder, Colorado. They're not doing it here.
There were some of the most famous rappers you've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Were on the sidelines. Have you seen that in Cleveland?
No. And so I'm like, okay, if they're not doing that, I wonder if real Browns fans are just like the guys who were here, the people, the men and women, who were here before and they'll be here after, no matter what happens with Shedeur. I wonder if they are going, yeah, I don't really take him seriously either. Maybe I'd like to see him more than Dylan Gabriel guys, but I don't take him seriously either, and we'll just move on with this season. And if that's the case, then maybe you could. If you really wanted to kick the tires one more time, one more again, maybe you could do it, because they're as desperate as a team as they are the most desperate franchise, I think, in the history of the game for a quarterback. And maybe that's a good thing, because you're always trying. We can evaluate that year to year, that statement. maybe they might look at it and go, hey, I got 30,000 people actually walking into the stadium. It's not that great of an atmosphere. Maybe we can put them out there. Or maybe they just go, hey, week 18, we're down in Cincinnati. Who knows what Cincinnati's playing for? Maybe they would put them out there. Maybe they would.
Yeah, down there, not up here.
I can't not consider it because I really did think that there would be a lot of, and there's definitely 12 jerseys in the stands. And when he first came out against the Ravens, there was a lot of excitement there. But I have not seen the type of excitement that I thought I was going to see last week at home in a game that, and I know the 49ers are a tough team that I thought was going to be a winnable game like that. I didn't see it. Maybe it'll be this week against Tennessee because it's definitely a winnable football game against Tennessee. So I'm open-minded to everybody. I don't think he's going to play this year. Hearing Kevin Stefanski, and it's good for Deshaun. That's good for Deshaun. That's good for Deshaun. Not really talking about the benefits to the team as much. And I go, I don't think he's. My belief is that he's not going to play. But if you guys want to see him,
and remember,
I'm willing to have that conversation.
Remember,
folks.
before the season, Jimmy Haslam had that press conference when it was a lot nicer out. I think we were interviewing DeJuan Jones that day. But Jimmy Haslam spoke there in Berea training camp and admitted that it was a massive mistake. And now it's dealing with the ramifications of that mistake. They took all the signage down of Deshaun Watson at the stadium. Mm-hmm. That was all good. So in our minds, that was it. But people kept reminding us, oh yeah, there's that contract. Like, if this season goes off the rails, I guess who cares? Who cares if he's not? Like, we'll get calls say, I care. I'm not going to watch. I'm going to I mean, I think they're looking at the stadium.
I'm open to you.
I think they're seeing that the fervor over the Cleveland Browns is again back to like an all-time low right now. Outside of the Shedeur excitement,
it really is. I mean, if Shedeur goes out there and plays really well on Sunday, I think it'll pick right back up. But it really is reaching a little bit, like in the stadium, I think it's reaching a little bit 16, 17 levels there, where it's like, all right, we're getting ready for the future, and let's deal with it.
The Bills game is going to be all Bills fans because it's going to be way cheaper to go to the game in Cleveland than it would be in Buffalo. I mean, their cheapest tickets when they take on Philadelphia December 28th, $350. They could come to our stadium for $30. Like, they're just going to come to our stadium. And there's Bills fans all over Erie, PA, and there's a bunch of Bills flags around Cleveland. So
we're hospitable to them. I don't mind Bills fans.
I think the Haslam's kind of part of this was, what's the difference? We've already, there's so many of our fans have already said they're disgusted by the state of affairs of this team anyway, that we owe it to ourselves for all the talk about.
So you think he is going to play?
I think there's a chance, but then, I was thinking, well, Dylan Gabriel's a top 100 pick. Do they want his season to be over? Because going to Deshaun, then that means that the season's over, unless there are crazy injuries, for Dylan Gabriel. Wouldn't they want to evaluate Dylan Gabriel more? And then I thought, man, the biggest investment is Deshaun Watson. It's not. Yeah. It's a way bigger investment than a top 100 pick.
But there's such a thing as sunk cost. And I don't know if I just think with everything that's possibly there, we talk about insurance payouts. Again, I don't know the ins and outs of that. And I would think that maybe they can get that on that. But I just look at it and go, what am I really proving if I do play him this year? I could wait until next year. I mean, they could very well put themselves in a spot. Think about this. I don't know how well Shedeur is going to do for the rest of the year. I don't know what their coaches are going to be there. There's so many unknowns here. I would lean towards, I think that there will probably be a change. I think there will probably be a reset, right? Okay, if there's a reset, then I think that a lot of this is gone. I think that probably Shedeur is gone. I think maybe Dylan Gabriel might even be gone. I know Mary Kay said that he would have a better chance, but I think that probably neither of them would still be around. I think that you're going to get a first-round quarterback, whether you like it or not. And I think that we should probably figure out somebody that we're comfortable with and hopefully make do with it. Dane Brugler is putting out some wild things, and we're going to talk to Dane from The Athletic coming up at 9 o'clock. And then I think that possibly they could just go ahead and go, hey, he's our bridge quarterback. We already are on the hook for him, and we'll go ahead and do it, and we'll let people pound the seats for the new guy with him starting. You could absolutely see a scenario with that happening, where he goes out there, and if he plays well, maybe we can get something out of him. Remember, quarterbacks are currency. Now, this is with a new regime maybe taking over. Maybe they just wash the hands out of all of it, but I don't think you want to go that much in the hole for a guy that you don't even have, where it's like, okay, I have this bridge guy. If I can get him to play decently at all, I'm not moving off my first-round pick. I'll move off of him, and we'll get something in return. We'll have to pay the freight, and we'll get some pick back in return. They may end up doing that with Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, for all we know. I shouldn't say they're just gone. Maybe there is a move that's made in that sense. But
here's what I
think that that's the way that's going to play out.
Here's what I want to know, because, let's be honest. Having Shedeur behind Dillon Gabriel, that was a tough spot for Dillon. Now, no one's going to feel bad. Go out and play well. That's, in the end, it's still going to be up to you. Don't play the victim. But it wasn't an easy spot when you're drafted top 100 than to have Shedeur, a more famous guy that has, such a following all over the country, to have that. Here's what I wonder. What do Shedeur fans think? The 5th-round pick, who won't get the same amount of opportunities had he been drafted in the first round.
Well, they're probably already counting the reps that Deshaun's getting.
Well, what do they think of that news yesterday? How annoyed are they? Because that has to be a big slap in the face to them.
I think there's multiple thoughts to this, but in my general thoughts, I know what I said yesterday. I think I got caught up in the excitement. I don't think he's going to play this year. After hearing Kevin right after we got off the phone, off the studio mics with Andy and Jeff, I don't think he's going to play this year. But you've heard me yelling at you, going, "Shut up! Don't talk about it." Covering my ears, stop talking about it. Yelling at you that you're telling ghost stories to Browns fans. You're 3-9. You're 3-9. I got to back off of that. And if you lose to Tennessee, that firmly cements you as a horrific football team. And if you're a horrific football team, then with 4 games left to go, I think it's all on the deck. I think it's on the deck now, but I certainly think it's definitely all on the deck if you lose to Tennessee on Sunday, which they are a horrific team. They're so bad. Their offensive line is so... Guys, I'll tell you this. If you want to go to the game, I don't know what the ticket prices are. You could see history. He could set the mark on Sunday.
Miles,
yeah. Siciliano predicted that he's going to do it on Sunday. He could very well set the mark on Sunday. That offensive line is one of the worst I've ever seen. In professional football, it's one of the worst I've ever seen. I've been doing it a long time now. And I don't know as much as some of the other guys. We make jokes about football guys, but it's easily one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. And you could see history.
And this is worse than the Raiders.
Yes, and a guy that will go into the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland Brown. So there is a reason other than just Shedeur. There's a reason. But if they lose to that team, then it's all on the deck. So I want to hear it from you. It could be desperation. It could be apathy. It could be curiosity. It could be morbid curiosity. Whatever it may be. They've activated the 21-day window. Are you open to Deshaun Watson playing at some point this year? 216-474-0092. And major moves possibly at 6:44 on the Fan. Peter and Company Jewelers.
Andy Baskin for Choice Cabinets. Did you buy your house in the last 10 years, 15 years, and look at those cabinets and go, oh, what are we doing here? Time to upgrade your cabinets. Choice Cabinets, 60 or 70% off of retail because Choice Cabinet is the manufacturer. ChoiceCabinet.com.
Don't trust anybody with your Cavs coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
6:40.
There's constant dialogue with the players, with the training staff, with AB. I know he's excited to get back out there practicing with his teammates.
Practice reps have been such a topic this year. How do you incorporate reps for him?
Yeah, obviously he'll just be getting some individual reps right now. Just get him going.
Yeah, see, the reps have been a big deal. You can't act like the media don't know what people are thinking about here. That is Deshaun Watson. That is head coach Kevin Stefanski talking about Deshaun Watson and them opening up the practice window. I don't think he's going to hit the field this year. Our boss Keith was texting my ear off during the break, or texting my eyes off during the break. He disagrees with you about the fan base. I happen to agree with you about the fan base there. I think there are two separate fan bases here in this case. I think that there is Shador's fans, and then I think there are Browns fans. I think Browns fans, maybe in so many ways, either just don't want to see him, or they're going, hey, guys, we're 3-9. We ain't going anywhere. I think that they don't like me telling them that we're going to draft a quarterback right now, but I think they kind of know that we're probably going to draft a quarterback, and I think that they are preparing for, probably they think the worst, but hoping for the best later on, but we're trying to get through this year. I think that a lot of flavors have changed about whether or not they want to see Deshaun Watson. To your point where you had brought up Shador's fan base, I think there's a lot of folks who take any quarterback as a threat. So yes, Deshaun Watson has been very helpful.
Well,
he's been very helpful to him. But now that we've talked about practice reps all year long, anything that can be seen as any sort of a takeaway from the possibility of getting Shador ready for greatness, that's going to be seen as a slight.
Yeah, well, Shador fans throughout this whole process, and they haven't been wrong on all of this. Some of it, I think they've been totally wrong and misguided. But you got to remember, I mean, it is all victimization all the time. When looking at the all-22, when every guru is like, oh, he's missing that throw, he's not early enough, he's not anticipating that, they just reject it, right? They're just like, no, you just don't like him. Okay, no, these guys are just analyzing film now. Yeah, Jay Gruden was doing it yesterday, and he has no malice against Shador Sanders, but doesn't matter. Every word that comes out is automatically he's biased and he hates him. You know, and then
Jay Gruden was pretty complimentary of him a couple of weeks ago. After the Ravens game, he was very complimentary of him, I believe.
Well, the video, you know, that I see, every comment just assumes the worst about anybody that criticizes Shador, and probably because there were some bad actors very early on in the process. So they're just assuming every media person is that. They think the coach is out to get him. They thought offensive linemen were out to get him. They think Jerry Jeudy is out to get him. They think everybody. And now that this news comes out yesterday and there's a press release that Deshaun Watson, who they made way more of an investment in than a fifth-round pick. This was first-round picks over years. This was the guaranteed money. They still have $90+ million in it. They don't have any of that in terms of an investment into Shador Sanders. So you can understand that the Shador fans that are watching us on YouTube Live, that are tweeting at every film review, trying to take down every host. They're in my DMs. That Zach Jackson had some interesting things to say at the end of his podcast yesterday when it came to some Shador fans. They cannot be happy. Well, they must be thinking the worst.
They've paid one guy $230 million. And I think that guy has been helpful in trying to get Shador prepared. I don't think that matters now, because this is a team that, again, is so desperate for the position that I think Sunday could be a very big day, and that if he doesn't play well against a putrid football team, and they're going to take care of him, and we could discuss how the game plan should go, but if he doesn't play well against a putrid football team, you know, all of a sudden I think there will be some people on Monday kind of going, how did number 4 look in some of them drills? Maybe how did he look in some of them drills? Like, I don't think they want to go to Dylan Gabriel, and I don't think they want to go to Bailey Zappi. But if they're going to pay him that much, I mean, maybe he should go out there. I don't believe he's going to be, but I think that the tenor will change. If he plays well on Sunday, yeah, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
Put him back in the quarterback room. If he wants to do the scout team and all that other stuff, fine, but we don't need to see him. But, if he don't play well on Sunday against a bad team and the number one overall pick who's had his struggles this year because he's had to try to throw that team on his back to do anything this year, I think that there's going to be some differing opinions here. But again, I've softened my tone. Like I at first this year, all that stuff, I treated him as a person under the stairs. And now when you're 3-9, it's like, I don't think he's going to play. I don't want to see him play. I want to see Shedeur play. But hey, man, if you can't go out there and you can't run the offense and you lose to a really bad football team, I think that the options are all out there. Tony in Mansfield, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Tony.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Doing well, Tony. Go ahead.
All right, so two different ways. So if we keep the same coaching staff, if Andrew Berry's still here, one, I'm tired of the Shedeur fans. I love Shedeur Sanders. Love everything about him, his family, his dad, great athlete, great guy. But it is what it is. It's results-based. The problem is with this team that we have, absolutely garbage. We know that our wide receivers are garbage. Our offensive line has struggled. It's, again,
Well, I don't think anybody's set up for success here at the position.
No, exactly.
I agree with you, Tony.
With this organization. Exactly. So it's really hard. We know what Dylan Gabriel is. He's not a franchise quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, more than likely not, although I love him, like him, want him to succeed. The thing is Deshaun Watson, as much as I do not want to see him, right, he's kind of our bridge quarterback, like you mentioned a little bit earlier. And then if we, so either the same organization or we do a complete reset, have a new staff, new head coach, new GM, it's kind of the perfect option because we can have Deshaun Watson as our bridge quarterback, develop and get draft capital, right? Whether that be in the draft, get offensive linemen, get wide receivers, and then draft a quarterback the following year if nobody in the offices likes who's coming out this year. I don't know. It's the craziest nonsense, but I mean, as much as I don't want to see him out there, it's kind of like Deshaun Watson is the best quarterback on the roster. I mean,
he would be the most talented. Tony would be the most. Yeah, he would be the most talented.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wild.
I don't think anybody can deny that. And it's wild to think that way here in December, but here it is December in Berea. Thank you for the call, Tony. And it's morning in America. And I never thought we'd be saying it because, I know that they've had the talent conversation on other shows before. It's like, well, I mean, you look at what the roster is now and the quarterback room is right now. That's where it is. Or, I mean, I think that some people, I think you're in a moment now as a Browns fan, if you is just a Browns fan, you just don't want to have your time wasted anymore. So if Shedeur, who's a young guy, can go out there and look good, okay, let's see him again. Let's see him again and again and again. But if he can't, I think a lot of people are going to go, okay, what are we really fighting about, guys? Is this argument even worth it? And then they're going to go, well, you're paying that guy all that money. Fine, let's see something maybe I'm interested in. Because then you go into next year, say he plays really well. Say he does get in 20 days. And there's, 2 games left in the season, and he ends up playing well in those 2 games. And don't think for a moment the folks that are afraid of quarterbacks in this coming draft aren't going to sit there and go, now, wait a minute. Can you go into next year with this guy now that he's healthy? Go get yourself a lineman. Go get yourself a Carnell Tate or something. We'll start to have those conversations because I think that fans just don't want their time wasted now.
They will latch on. The way I've seen people latch on to 2 really good throws from Shedeur, right, in 2.5 games so far. He's had 2 really good throws.
I thought 3.
Okay, 3 good throws, which, if you watch the rest of the league.
Well, they're bombs, but you get what I'm saying.
If you watch the rest of the league, everybody's doing that.
He's out of the good throws.
Even the bad court. Kyler Murray's doing that. Everybody does that in the league. Uh-huh. But you can tell it's been so bad that we're willing to latch on to anything. So you're right. If he comes in there and has 2 even average games, which he hasn't done a lot of in Cleveland, but if he has even average games, people will quickly gravitate.
Well, I'm gonna get upset then because I'm fine with average. I'm fine with average. If he goes out there for seriously, guys, if he goes out for 220 yards on Sunday and he throws for 2 touchdowns and no interceptions or hands the ball up, doesn't even have to score touchdowns through the air. Okay, I don't care what they do, but if he just looks solid and runs the offense, I am perfectly fine with that. And I think I'm going to be very annoyed if some people the guy sitting next to me. I think I'm going to be very annoyed if he conducts the offense fine and people are just going, meh, fine, whatever. Let's move on to the next one. I think I'll be a very annoyed person. I just want to see good, consistent, complimentary football out of the guy. We got to crawl before we walk here. Jeff in Chesterland, hello.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning, Jeff. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if Deshaun Watson is cleared and ready to play, he should not play this year, but he should definitely start next year, because what's the point of playing this year? Give him more time to heal, get conditioned. But he is our starting quarterback, or he is our franchise quarterback. He's just been injured, so the big mistake was taking 2 rookies in the draft, because now you have this problem trying to play both of them.
Well, do you think he's good? Do you think that there's tap potential that we can get into with Watson?
Well, yeah, he's been there before. He's only 29. Look, Joe Flacco's 40 and doing it. So there's more of a potential of him starting to click rather than one of the rookies all of a sudden taking off. So I think it's if we have him on the roster, we have to pay him, then he might as well start next year, have one or both of these rookies back him up, and then worry about the quarterback in the next draft.
Well, I don't want to be, and Jeff, thank you for the call. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I'm not just going to kick it down, because I think that everybody who says, hey, there's Julian Sand coming up, and there's Arch Manning coming up, and Lenore Sellers is probably going to go back to college, so there's Lenore Sellers coming up. I think you guys are going to talk yourselves out of all those guys getting ready for 27 as well. So I think that they're probably going to go faster than what it is. You don't need all of them. You need one. But what Jeff says about the quarterbacks and, well, there's a better chance of him returning to it, I want to fight him on that, because it's been since 2020. It's been 5 years since he's been sensational. That's a long time. But I have seen him be sensational in this league. I haven't seen the other ones. Now, you could say, well, the other ones haven't gotten the opportunity yet. All right, that's fair, but they're going to get there. One got his opportunity, and I don't need to see anymore. The other one's going to get more opportunities. And if he can't make the most of those opportunities, I can't run Jeff off the air with that opinion. 216-474-0092. Coming up at 7, I want to get more of you guys in on this. Are you open? Do you actually want to see Deshaun Watson play? Or is this just another thing where you go, no, enough's enough. I'm done with it. If he plays, I'm not watching. I want to hear you. Tone wants to hear you on that at 7 o'clock. It's a big name that's out there, but we might need to get our own affairs in order first before we talk about him. What's that name? What's those affairs? We'll get into those at 7:02 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima 4.
CleSecretService.gov. That's CLE.recruitment@secretservice.gov.
There's Cavs and there's NBA news that happens while you're at work. Baskin and Phelps. Weekday mornings starting at 10.
Just by being himself, everybody's got a different perspective of this game. And I think having a guy like Deshaun in there who's seen so much and has been through different situations and can provide great counsel to young quarterbacks, I just think that's invaluable.
That's head coach Kevin Stefanski on Deshaun Watson, the leader. Does he deserve the C on the jersey now?
Oh, man.
216-474. He was asked a gem of a question. Could Watson's return salvage the trade, Kev?
Not my focus, really. Just excited for him to be able to get back out there on the field. I think for any player, when you're rehabbing, the next step, getting out there on the practice field, is a big step. So I'm excited for him.
Whoever asked the question, I want to shake their hand. What a great question. He could have just stopped it. Nah, because that's where I thought it was just needed to stop right there.
I was saying, if you want to really if you really want to get in fantasy land, Owen and I were just talking about what he would have to do to salvage it, and Owen's first inclination was AFC Championship game next year, which we had a good laugh about it.
Yeah,
that was a nice laugh. And then when the guffaws died down.
That wasn't, it's a joke.
Then I said, well, okay, what if he made the playoffs? And then the laughter, it emerged again. There was a lot of laughter. And because he'd have to start, he'd have to go through the offseason, he'd have to stay healthy, he'd have to play well. Okay, then they'd make the playoffs. And I said, you know what would happen, though? Oh, and if they made the playoffs.
What's that, Anthony?
Here would come the extension. And then we had the live studio audience start to weigh in.
If you and Owen weren't joking, you just admitted to everybody you guys did peyote during the break.
It'd be that, and AC Slater would be walking in with his shirt off from the gym.
And Johnny Cash is going to show up like a wolf in Homer Simpson's Vision Quest. The AFC Championship game.
The playoffs.
I almost said the S word to you and had to dump it.
Do not get twisted what the topic was. It wasn't what do we think he's going to do.
No, it was what would salvage the trade. That's right.
It was you got to live in fantasy land, and I'm living in extreme fantasy land.
What's the point if you can't live in fantasy land, right?
Well, the whole thing's fantasy land right now.
Unfortunately.
It hasn't hit the fan yet. What's it? Whose fan is it? That's at 7:02. Let me get to Jim in Strongsville. You're first up on the fan. Hello, Jim.
Hey, guys, listen, I really started out with who I'm so apathetic at this point. Who cares if they put Deshaun Watson out there? Who cares what quarterback they roll out to be playing in front of a majority of Buffalo Bills fans and Steelers fans to finish the year? It doesn't even matter. This year's over. But that one caller, I'll tell you right now, you bring these clowns back and you trot Deshaun Watson out there as your starting quarterback next year, throw me off of a mountain. Throw me off of a mountain. I want no part of it. I would rather be in hell. I would rather anything besides that. And I would ask you this too, Ken. You guys, everybody keeps talking like the team hasn't quit on Kevin. The team hasn't quit on Kevin. Okay, the offense has been garbage. Special teams has been garbage. The question you got to ask yourself, is the defense playing for Kevin or are they playing for Myles Garrett in the record?
Wait a minute. I didn't say anything about but we didn't talk about the team playing for or quitting on Kevin yet.
No, but I've thought about it. Listen, Ken.
What is that?
Jim, all right. Thank you very much for the call.
What's that?
Why? Good God. Well,
anywho,
he is about the thing we had to dump. I'm not talking about. No. The beginning of that call, if it didn't get dumped already, he kind of has a point. See, that's where it's like, you're kind of stuck drafting somebody no matter what. If Shedeur doesn't take off or Dylan Gabriel doesn't come back and take off, guys, I was doing peyote too during the break. If those guys don't do it, then you can't go into next year and just be like, yep, Deshaun's our guy. That is a point that I should have made back to Jeff and Chesterland. If you go into next year and he goes out there and he sucks up the room week 1, you got 16 more games. And then you're just going to watch. I guarantee you guys, man, one of these guys is going to take off, and you will be upset.
Oh,
you will be really upset. You will be really, really, really upset. Don't act like you won't. because we still get Julian saying stuff. People call in about Jackson Dart stuff. We get Jackson Dart conversation that happens. Nobody wants to talk about J.J. McCarthy, but we get Jackson Dart conversation.
Have you helped me pronounce his name?
You'll be upset.
Did you see the video yesterday? The montage of, is it Tyler Shuck? Shuck. We never talked to him. You talked about him before the draft. There is a montage of him.
He hit Chris Olave on a great pass the other day. I mean, Olave was fantastic on the route.
If we're talking about just, Shedeur Sanders having 2 or 3 good throws, and I know it's been not a lot of game, 2.5 games, he's got like 12. He's got like 12 dynamite throws.
Coming around a little bit. He can spin it a little bit. Ethan in Vermilion, home of the Sailors. He's next up on the Fan. Hello, Ethan. Ethan is down. Kevin in Cleveland. Hello, Kevin.
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
Kevin, we're doing okay. Go right on ahead. Are you open to seeing him again?
No! Tony, you're going to want to cover your ears when I say this, because I would love to see Shedeur Sanders finish out the year. And maybe even, give him a full offseason, because realistically, from his first start, I guess not necessarily for his first start, from his first half to now, have we not seen progression? Have we not seen him stepping up into the pocket to try to make more conservative throws? Have we not seen him just, instead of chucking the ball just to take a sack? He doesn't have an offensive line, and his wide receiver one, let me remind you, is Jerry drops a lot Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy's not good, and I want to get to Jerry Jeudy coming up later in the show. But let me tell you this, Kevin. I when they had to do comeback mode and things like that, I think it shows you just how far behind it is, because he went back to a lot of old habits, because I thought he was trying to throw a touchdown pass on every pass. And I don't think he needed to.
Do a comeback. You don't have the players to come back with.
I understand that, but I think that we look at a lot of different quarterbacks, and they somehow find guys to be able to be weapons in their offenses. They're called great quarterbacks. I mean, this is what we're trying to find right now. And he doesn't have a lot of time to show these things, but yeah, the odds are going to be stacked against a guy that went in day 3.
And I do agree. I agree. In order to be a quarterback in this league, you need to be great. You need to have that X factor. But I mean, it's so hard to. Believe me, I was not a Shedeur fan when we drafted him. I'm a Browns fan, so obviously I'm going to try to, support all the guys that are on this team, aside from maybe Deshaun Watson. But I think that if you see a offensive line that has been together for more than 3 games, because I don't think we've had an offensive line that has been together for a single game yet this year, considering that our tackles have been swapped in and out like baseballs. And I need to see what he looks like with a good offensive line and a solid wide receiver.
Well, you're not going to get that this year. You're not.
And you're probably not going to get that next year.
Yeah, Kevin, I hate to tell you, it's just not going to happen. And by the way, I could sit there and be like, you guys need to draft this guy. That guy ain't going to get that either. That ain't going to happen either.
I mean, you're probably right, but I hate just pitching someone, because, we've seen it in the past. We pitch a quarterback or we pitch a player, and then they turn out being incredible.
Yeah.
But, all right, well, you guys have a great morning. Thanks for taking me on. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you you for the call.
I was not, he said, Lima, cover your ears. If Shedeur plays well this week and can buy himself a little more time, and I think he has an opportunity to play well this week, the caller's right. The weapons, the offensive line, that's been true all year, no matter who the quarterback is. So all these guys are operating from deficiency. It's going to be really hard. But that is what we do in the NFL. We test rookies on a lot of bad teams. And we just mentioned Tyler Shuck, right? We mentioned Jackson Dart. Those guys are not on good teams. So unfortunately, you get thrown into the mix before a lot of guys are ready. C.J. Stroud, he passed those tests when he came into the league, right? Jaden Daniels last year passed those tests with flying colors when he came into the league. So that's just kind of how this league works, is that you're thrown into the fire almost 99% of the time before you are ready to go. They all can't be Patrick Mahomes. They all can't be Aaron Rodgers. They can't be Jordan Love, where they get to sit. Okay, now let's slow down and let the game come to them. No, you get thrown into fire, and it's hard. It's really hard. And the thing about Shedeur that was a little different seemed like a lot of guys were saying, well, he was a developmental guy anyway. The Browns were saying that.
7:45, we go to About Last Night. We have thoughts and opinions on Brian Hartline, also this Penn State coaching mess, and the Cavaliers, which are a mess as well, and whether or not one guy can bail them out of there. Also coming up in this next hour, Jerry Jeudy can't blame me for being a hot fire when he's the one dumping the gas on it. But coming up in 5 minutes, quote, I just wanted to yell at you at the beginning of this show. The Cleveland Cavaliers may be tearing this family apart in this studio. Ken Carman, Tone Master General, and Mary Kay at 8:20. Could Deshaun Watson see the field this season?
Anthony Lima.
Thursday Night Football all starts out at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekday starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Deshaun Watson. And whether or not he's going to play again for your Cleveland Browns, that's coming up again here in a bit. Also, you can say I fuel the negativity, I feed off the negativity. But, Jerry Jeudy is the one who's shoveling the coal into the fire. Don't give me that. Don't turn around and blame it on the media when you're the one sitting there shaking your head in a first quarter pass. I understand it wasn't a great pass. I understand you were open. But I'm not making you bitch and moan on the sidelines. I ain't the one doing it. We'll play that coming up here in a little bit. Cavs are tearing this family apart. They're 13-10. I don't think it has hit the fan yet, which I put it out on social media. By the way, watch us on YouTube Live, 92.3 The Fan. It's absolutely free. It's live right now. You can see my smiling puss as Jason Whitlock called me, the chubby guy on the right who's scared to death. And he was right. I'm chubby, I'm on the right side of you, and I was scared to death after what you had said during that segment right there. I said that it hasn't hit the fan yet. Immediately, people got in about the Browns and went, whoa, hold on. It might be all over the room right there. It hasn't hit the fan yet with the Cavs. But Owen, not happy. That might have been the worst loss of the year last night.
I felt like it was.
It
was bad. They were 11-point favorites in that game. And, yeah, we've got guys out. So do they. And I guarantee if you went to that game last night,
using guys out as an excuse. That's not a good.
Well, and every team you play has a bunch of guys out. They played Indiana. Exactly. We had the guys out. So did they, and they're terrible anyway. So Portland had a bunch of guys that I guarantee, if you went to the game last night, you kept looking on your phone, going, "Who's that guy? Who's that guy who's making us look bad? Who's that guy getting all the way to the rim? Who's that guy just nailing big 3-point shots?" And a bunch of them shot better than they typically do. And it's just really discouraging that there's no way that Sam Merrill and Max Strus and, yeah, they didn't have Jared Allen, but there's no way that you should ever lose that game. And I don't know if I have to remind people, probably do. Most people probably don't care. Portland played the game the night before. They were on the back-to-back. We were not. Normally in the NBA, that's a scheduled win.
Until you just told me.
That's a scheduled win when you're playing another team that had a back-to-back.
Well, Ken, you said I was upset with the Cavs. I was more upset with Anthony Lima because he sat here yesterday and tried to convince me that I needed to go buy tickets and go to this damn game last night, and then they go out and they do a performance like that. Why the hell would I spend any money on that right now? Ooh. And I know that your whole argument is that you get to see Donovan Mitchell, and he's one of the best players in the NBA. Well, he has to be right now because nobody else on that team can do a damn thing. Nobody can make a shot. The guys that can make shots, Sam Merrill's one of those guys that depending on, he's got a broken hand. The other guy, Garland, I haven't even seen. I don't even remember him playing a game this season.
Played last night.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he play? You certainly didn't see him on defense. Nor did you see him on offense, actually.
Then fine. Then we got to have ourselves a big conversation. Then you just want to shut him down?
Yeah, I got to say,
because he's still trying to play through this thing, and maybe it's just better if you shut him down.
Owen is absolutely right. Like, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I know the Cavs are stumbling out of the gates and everything, but they were still yesterday, and now maybe Mitch can check this out, they were the favorites to win the East, and I'm just like, yeah, people still think, people that know the game are like, yeah, by the end of the year, the Cavs, when they get healthier, which now is a big kind of asterisk with the Garland stuff, but they're still better than these teams in the East. But the more and more these kind of games pile up, and you're watching them last night, they got booed. I mean, guys, the Cavs fans, which have, over the last how many years, have just been such an uplifting force. When other teams talk about the toughest gyms to come into, toughest buildings, especially when it's cold outside, you go in there, and the Cavs fans and the entertainment that they put on, they are rocking from start to finish. The Cavalanches. How many Cavalanches have there even been this year? Seriously. There wasn't one last night.
I saw there was one.
And there was one early in the year that was forced. Like at the end of the game, they went on like a 13-6 run, and
that was the one I saw. So
well, the game's over. I guess we'll let the confetti fall. Like, there hasn't been any of that. And it's amazing how much it pales in comparison to a season ago, where it just seemed like we would take a team like Portland, second night of a back-to-back, and we would run them out of the building in the second quarter. A team you were 11-point favorites over, that game wouldn't even be competitive. And this is nothing like last year. And I think Kenny Atkinson, you could see the look on him, and then Donovan Mitchell yesterday. Donovan Mitchell was very concerned and said it's everybody. It's everybody not playing well right now. And at least Donovan talked. He didn't even talk after that last loss. Who did they play right before Indiana? When the Celtics game. It was embarrassing that they lost the Celtics game.
Not good.
Celtics are a better team than them right now.
Well,
seems like.
You said they're the favorites to win the East, or maybe not anymore. They're even the favorites to win the play-in at this point, because that's what they're at. They're the 7th seed if the season ended today, right? They'd be in the play-in right now.
Yeah, they would. You're right.
I am frustrated that nothing has happened. They have crowned themselves paper champions. They've done that for 3 seasons now. You keep telling me they're the best team in the East. They don't do anything to upgrade the actual guys that play real minutes in the game.
Now, wait a minute.
And they've done it for 3 seasons, and they've exited in the second round.
Some of this stuff you can't help but do. I mean, some of this was timing. Not great timing, but some of this was timing. You can't do much now. You have a second apron that's stuck. I know that Giannis wants to be a trade candidate coming up. Then he got hurt last night. Now, what's that, a calf strain? So you know what a calf strain ends up being if you don't watch it close.
Then people need to stop trying to tell me that I have to go to games to watch it. Then if you can't do anything about it,
that's on him.
Yeah.
That's on him.
I get it. We're going to cry second apron.
Hold on. The pushback I would have is, you go to...
Cried second apron.
You went to Guardians games all summer, and they were barely above 500 for a long period of time.
Yeah, but he wasn't in there telling everybody that they needed to go to Guardians games and stop their belly aching. You did tell him yesterday about going to Cavs games.
I also said, look at the way that the schedule unfolds for the Guardians, and the Guardians were beating the teams that they needed to beat. They were beating the teams that they were better than, and they were getting wins against teams that were better than them, at least staying in series, right?
Wait, they went on a miraculous run. Look, think about
how down. Miraculous? They were playing a good team. They were playing good teams.
Wait a second. You didn't think the run they went on at the end of the year was miraculous?
Was it miraculous? They were better than the teams they were playing.
This is revisionist.
I started in July saying, look at the schedule,
but they
Anthony.
Were 15 and a half. Ken, you were not buying. Owen was buying it just because what else was Owen going to do? He had to buy it.
Because I looked at the schedule.
You bought your pass.
To the 9-13.
You bought
8-13 Trailblazers.
You bought your pass. You were going to go to the games regardless of how bad they were.
No, he's right.
And I didn't make the prediction because I bought a pass, Anthony.
He was right, but remember what he said. He said that they were worse teams. They were playing teams and beating teams that were worse than them.
The Cavs are going to play.
Right.
But wait, the Cavs
are not beating the teams worse than them right now.
Okay,
exactly.
They're also not healthy. I mean, we have to give them that benefit of the doubt.
The teams that are worse than you.
He's right.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yes, you are. You just got loud with him.
But wait, who's getting loud right now? I'm just saying they were 15 and a half games back on July 8th. Who was really, outside of Owen, who was buying the Guardians last year, making the run? All I'm saying is we are holding the Cavs to a very different standard, obviously. Like where the Browns, if they just have 3 good throws and a half, we're losing our minds. Like, come on. Donovan Mitchell's been sensational this year.
Do they or do they not?
Donovan has been awesome to watch. He's been a first-team All-NBA player this year.
Hold on.
Is that not entertaining to you?
No, it is entertaining, but
I think we're talking about standards. I think we're being a little ridiculous on the Cavs, who've been the one shining beacon of optimism for many years.
The one shining beacon of optimism?
Anthony, have the Browns been entertaining to you this year?
You guys all tell me the Guardians have no shot once they get to the playoffs every year.
Have the Browns been entertaining to you this year?
No, they have not.
Well, Myles Garrett has played the best defense in the NFL. Why are we not all yelling that everybody should support the Browns?
But the Cavs are above 5.
It's the same thing that you're
not
doing
the same.
with Donovan Mitchell right now.
The Browns are one of the worst teams in football. The Cavs are not one of the worst teams in basketball.
No, you need to change that because they aren't one of the best teams in basketball like you're proclaiming right now.
No, they're not. But again, Vegas has the Browns being a laughing stock.
Just because Donovan Mitchell is good doesn't mean the team is good. And I don't give a crap if Donovan Mitchell is good. I want the team to win.
Can I get a word in?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Not about you, him.
Okay.
Why am I being attacked when it's the
Cavs? That they're over 500.
Why am I the one?
Because he's right.
Go after Lonzo Ball. Go after Darius Garland. Don't go after me.
I have something to say to you.
Sorry.
Shut up.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that like that, but you get what I'm saying here. Your argument just to him was they're over 500. Who is the most expensive roster in all the NBA?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking the NFL.
In all the NBA. Who's the most expensive roster in all the NBA?
Cavs. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going, well, you're holding them to a higher standard than everybody else. Yeah. Yeah, they get held to a high standard.
Okay, but
they get held to a very high standard.
You guys have been telling me
They bowed out in the first two rounds of the playoffs over the last 3 years, and they are 13-10, and they look, and these are basically what Donovan Mitchell said after the Indiana win. They look like they don't care.
It's bad.
They're rolling out there, and they look like they don't care.
I totally agree.
I'm not even freaking out. I'm saying it ain't hit the fan, at least not yet. I'm mad at you because he's right. You went after him about going to Cavs games yesterday, and then they go out and half-ass it and lose against the Portland Trailblazers, who are coming off a back-to-back, which I didn't even know about.
So are you telling people not to go to games the rest of the year? Well, what are you saying?
Not.
Sounds like you're saying don't go to games.
I'm saying don't try to shame them into going to games.
We just won't talk Cavs anymore. Their season's over, even though you guys say the regular season doesn't matter. Are you panicking?
You're doing what my wife would do. Don't do what Liz would do.
Are you panicking? Are you saying the season's over?
I guess I'm just the worst mother and wife ever now, aren't I?
So what? Well, now you sound like my wife.
Worst.
Wait a second.
Because that's how you're sounding with the Cavs.
Wait a minute.
My
wife said that
Wait a second. Power rank the wives that say ridiculous things to grab our attention.
Who's willing to put their wife number one?
Well, 2 nights ago, it had to be my wife. It had to be my wife.
Anyway, I think we're just gonna leave them spots blank right now.
It was
because put up a graphic, Keith.
It was Karen. That was all the money they had.
All right, it had to be Karen, then Kay. I don't know. Kay was number one there.
Hey, Kay took matters into her own hands.
Kay was number one. Then there was Karen.
Her and her physician took matters into their own hands.
Then I will say Sharon Stone and Casino. There you go. That's number 3 right there. You can't just... It's not that they shouldn't go to games. I'll never tell people to not go to games.
I know.
Hold on. I'll never tell people to not go to games.
I think we're getting a little ridiculous.
But, no, he's not ridiculous. He's right. It's not about telling people to not go to games. But you can't sit there and basically try to strong arm on the radio and say, you guys are going to miss these guys when they're all gone. That's why you need to go to games before Christmas. No, that's not how that's going to go.
I don't think I'm saying that.
And they're going to the games.
I think, look, the fans had an overwhelming sentiment yesterday at the end of that game. It was to boo the team, and rightfully so. They absolutely deserved all of that. That was pathetic last night. In fact, I'm a little annoyed that Kenny Atkinson...
Yeah, but you just said they're over 500, so who cares?
I'm saying that because Owen made it sound like the arena should be empty the rest of the year. Like, let's not act like the Cavs aren't awesome to go to a lot of their games, and it is an amazing time.
I'm not spending my $7 on their ticket because keep looking at the attendance. It says 19,432 right there every time.
Would you rather spend your $7 for the Cavs or the Browns right now? And the sad thing is, I don't know the answer.
At some point, you're going to get both for that $7.
That's true. You could do a 2 for at least the weather's good inside the Cavs game.
I was going to say, and you just wait in 2029.
Especially now since it's not avalanching at all in there.
No, it's not. So you don't got to worry about that.
Maybe in the bathrooms, you might see one. It's rough.
All right, real quick.
I think as we're screaming, I don't disagree.
I wasn't screaming.
They didn't deserve to be watched last night. They didn't. You're right, Owen. You win. They did not deserve
how do you back down to him like that? You don't back down to me like that.
Real quick before we...
Oh, it's nicer.
Go ahead.
Champion foes.
You can't see me.
Unbelievable.
Get a camera in there.
It's because he's a veteran, isn't it?
I don't want a camera.
You stood down to him because he's a veteran. You would never say that to me.
I thank him every day. I wake up and I thank him for his service.
You don't.
Yes, I do. I say a little prayer, and before I get out of bed, I say...
He sings Lee Greenwood to me before every show.
I just don't publicize it.
My favorite thing... No, I can't say that on the... Yeah, I will. When we get new people, Lima tells them that we do an invocation before every show, and they all believe him. Czar at Fairview Park, hello.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Listening to the back and forth argument, I got a little bit more insight hearing you guys while I was on hold. But it sounded like Owen's issue was with Lima because he told him, hey, you got to go see him. You got to go see him. So he went to go see him, and they sucked. That's on you, Owen. That's not on him.
I didn't go to see them. I got mad. And Owen is a representative of any guy that is not really an NBA fan, but is a Cavs fan, right? So Lima's been telling everyone that's just a Cavs fan, it's your fault for not paying the money. It's your fault that people are reselling their tickets for $7 on the secondary market. It's your fault, guy that has other things going on in his life. Drop what you're doing and get over to the arena.
I said I was honestly, I was just a little surprised that, we have. Are we gonna act like there wasn't some excitement? I know the Indiana series was really bad, but they were not themselves in that series.
And then the superstar that you keep touting to me told me none of it matters.
He did. He said it a couple times now, Tone. Don't yell at Owen. Yell at Donovan. I'd like to see you do that. You'll apologize to him, too, by the time
it was a figure of speech.
What was a figure of speech? You apologize to Owen?
We could go 82-0, and, it's not going to matter until they win in the playoffs. But I still think they're going to go. Do we think they're just going to be this all year? Do we really think that?
They could go 20-62 at this point.
No, that's why I said it hadn't hit the fan yet. But there's some strong opinions here that people want to get out there. All right, we're going to get back to coming up in a bit. And, yes, the media feeds on negativity. But Jerry Jeudy, you're the one dumping gas into the bonfire. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. Window Nation and windownation.com. You can look at those.
fast, friendly, clean.
Indiana and Ohio State square off for the Big Ten Championship. How will the outcome affect the college football playoffs? Whenever you need to talk college football, we've got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Wanted to give Jerry Jeudy the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know if I can. Here's Jerry Jeudy talking about his row with Shedeur on the sidelines almost a full week ago now. But he talked yesterday, and he says that we're making a bigger deal about it than what it is.
What I would have done different, I probably just probably talk to them off camera. That's probably what I would have done different. Of course, I'm gonna speak my mind and tell me what and say what I need, what I see out there. But you know, it what it is. Football, man. Just me and Shedeur are good. You know, stuff like that happens. You know, y'all gonna make it bigger than what it is. You know, because the media, you know, that's what y'all feed off of, negativity. You know, but it is what it is. This is the life we live. So you know, we move on from it. And I live a real life. You know, so what happened around in this locker room, you know, this real, not what's going on social media and everything. So, me and Shedeur good, everything good, man. We gravy over here.
Negative media is a fire. You have to feed it. You have to start it and you have to feed it. I don't go out of my way. I don't think that there are some that definitely go out of their way to be negative. I don't think a lot of us go out to be negative. I really don't. You could disagree with that all you want, but I don't think they do. But when you give was that last week or the week before, the 1 minute 30?
Last week.
Okay, so you're out there for about a minute 30 giving one-word answers. This comes off your history that you had with Steve Smith. This comes off your history that you had in Denver. It feeds into it because we have long memories here. So, okay, Gage Larvidan, right? Gage Larvidan has been and he is not of the stature of Jerry Jeudy. That's part of the reason people are disappointed in Jerry Jeudy. Remember Darryl on Monday? Gage Larvidan muffed a punt in a terrible situation. And you could see it. He looked bad. And you just wanted to pick him up and hug him. Because Gage Larvidan has been as nice as possible. And Darryl is not a mean-spirited person. And what did Darryl say? He's like, Gage he muffed a punt. He felt terrible about it, but you knew it was going to happen. And I'm going, wait a minute. You knew it was going to happen? He's still a pro. But we're nicer to people who we know are nice. And Jerry Jeudy ain't been nice. And then you complained once before. Then you don't have a great attitude in your media availability last week. You didn't have to talk. You did not have to talk. And then you go out there and the media feeds off the negativity. You're the one throwing the gas on the fire. If it's a train that's starting to derail, you're the one shoveling the coal in, pal.
Yeah, he doesn't do himself any favors. And the fact is, when he came here, and yes, there was excitement because he was a first-round draft pick that had a lot of tools. And we still know, Jerry Jeudy has tools. We see him getting open. That's the one thing, watching all the film, he gets open a lot. He's not perfect. He does make mistakes, and some of the people are calling that out too, and he drops this is 2 straight years. He has led the NFL in drops. I think he had one in Denver where he was up there but had injuries. So, we were warned about him, and when Sean Payton doesn't want anything to do with you, he chose... who was it? Sutton?
He chose Cortland Sutton.
He chose Cortland Sutton, who does not have the God-given gifts that Jerry Jeudy does. But you got to have a locker room. You've got to have a culture. So there was a big-time red
God,
flag.
You're so right. God, you're right. I wish that was my point.
But so we're sitting here with Jeudy, and he's dealing with, and I don't even know, Jeudy, before the season started, he seemed to gush over Joe Flacco, if you remember. It was the nicest he has talked about anybody before the season. And you do wonder, did he have a chemistry, or did he think he had a chemistry with Flacco? I know he had his biggest game with Jameis, didn't he? That the 200-plus yard game against Denver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Jameis, but Jameis wasn't here this year. And I haven't really heard Jerry Jeudy talk all that glowingly about Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders.
All right, so I get your wide receiver situation or your quarterback situation ain't great. I would understand that. It doesn't make it any better when you're the number one. You are the number one. You're the guy who they are supposed to have to look to. And I've seen you drop footballs, and I've seen you start to pout on the sidelines. I've seen you pout on the field, and now you're pouting in the media. And while it's the negative media's fault, I didn't make you do any of these things. Neither did Tone. Jeff Shadell didn't make you do any of these things. Yeah, that's on you. And yeah, the quarterback has a massive fan base. There's lots of QBs that have massive fan base. If you played for Kansas City and you were doing those things, well, he'd feed you, so you'd probably be pretty happy. But if you weren't getting fed in a game or two against, if you're playing for Kansas City, if you were playing with Josh Allen, they're going to take the quarterback side. They're not going to take your side because the position you play does have a rich history of guys getting upset. And I try to be understanding about that. You're out there, and I don't want you to just run wind sprints while you're out there. I want you to be able to provide for the offense, and I understand that you would like the ball put where you need it to be put because you think you're open. I get some of this stuff. I do. But you can't just sit there and say, well, the media feeds off the negativity. In some cases, if you keep shoving it down our throat, yeah, man, we're going to start chomping down on it. We're going to do that. Mark Schlereth, who has had personal go-arounds with Jerry Jeudy, he was on Afternoon Drive yesterday. Mark Schlereth, I thought, summed up a lot of what Jerry Judy's career has been so far.
You know, that's one of the reasons that when he played here, I was very critical about the way he played because ultimately, you've been in the league for however long you've been in the league. You lead the league in drops every year. The lack of awareness, the fumble down the sideline was just unbelievable. Your complete and total lack of awareness. You know, those are the issues. And those were the issues, as I said, I probably came on your guys' show before, said I wish I could buy him for what he's worth and sell him for what he thinks he's worth because he's an unbelievably talented guy, but I think he's a very below-average football player.
There's a big difference there, man. There's a big, big difference. And I think it's kind of the story of his career so far. There's a lot of talent there, but a lot of it's just not going to get tapped, at least not right now. Went on to talk about the lack of accountability within the locker room.
If you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't look at yourself through a critical eye, until you're willing to do that, it's not redeemable. It'll never work. And you can take it for what it's worth. You know, he can take it for what it's worth. But I do have, 3 world championships to my career and my name in 12 years of start. And so I do know something about winning a championship and what it takes and the sacrifice that it takes and your willingness to put others ahead of yourself and to be a professional football player. Listen, I was just talking on my podcast today, not about Jerry Jeudy, but just about being a professional. And I used to say this to my kid all the time. When my son got drafted in the first round by the Arizona Diamondbacks, I sat him down and said, just because you play a pro sport doesn't make you professional. I was a professional freaking football player.
Congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, before we get going with Jerry Jeudy again, congratulations on all your success, Mark.
He was taking credit for Elway's. I mean, he was good, but he was taking credit for Elway's Super Bowls.
Well, it's a team sport, is what it means.
It is.
He's seen great leadership at its highest level, I think, is what Mark Schlereth
really
is trying
good.
to say. He was a good lineman. Yeah. He was a really good lineman.
If Joe Thomas would have been on the offensive line, how many Super Bowls Joe Thomas
He would have won a Super Bowl. He won 2 with Denver and 1 with Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah. Either way, he's a Super Bowl champion. And I can't refute anything of what he's saying about Jerry Jeudy. What he just said about Jerry Jeudy, the talent versus the football player, you couldn't be more right. You couldn't be more right. Because you've been given the bag, you've been given the responsibility, and you know what this is. You knew what it was last year. And yeah, I'd love the guy to stand and deliver and to have over 1,000 yards this year, but it ain't happening. And part of it is your fault. The fumbles. I'm not even talking about the fumble down the sideline. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt last week, got ripped up for it, saying, hey, he was excited, he's trying to make an extra play. I didn't think he was hot dogging or anything like that, because there's been plenty of times where, yeah, he's had silly drops. It's cost them on 3rd down, and you can't put any of these quarterbacks, even Joe when he was struggling at the beginning of the season and he was having drops, you can't put any of these guys behind the sticks. And then it's all you guys in the media, you feed off the negativity. What have you given me that's positive? What should I focus on that's positive? If there's charitable contributions, I'll always mention those. That's more than fine. But what have you given me that's really positive? You're on a 3-9 football team. You're on your 3rd quarterback so far this year. You haven't really been able to find any sort of compatibility with any of them right now. You failed to even have constructive criticism on the sidelines on Sunday to the point that Ethan Posick got up. You guys always want to preach that what I saw was just football. It's football to a point until a guy who's also a veteran, has to get up and intervene. Because he knows he's sitting there watching something that isn't constructive, and now you're just filling your quarterback's heads with bad ideas while he's trying to conduct an offense. That's why Ethan Posick got involved. So now you're failing to be constructive. So if we're going to have a constructive conversation that's heated, fine. But I've worked with you for a long time, and there's been plenty of times you and I have bitched at each other just to bitch. But there's plenty of times where it's been constructive, more often than not, I think. I know the difference. And I've seen that, and yeah, you can be constructive, and for a minute it looked like it was, and then clearly it didn't anymore. So you can be as upset as you want to be. It ain't making that situation any better. I know that you want him to look at you. It hasn't happened. For a multitude of reasons, it hasn't happened. But I don't think yelling at him's going to make it any better. But that's just me seeing it over here, and I'm wanting to be negative. Yeah. Us.
Is that kind of a welcome to the NFL moment?
Browns fans who want the Browns to do well or being negative.
For a quarterback, because receivers are always complaining. They are always wanting the ball more. They're always saying they're open.
No.
Is that pretty? Because that's why I'm like, well, that's kind of how it works in this league, and you're not playing with your college teammate anymore
because there's
you're playing. Not everybody gets to be Joe Burrow, where they get their college studs to follow them.
Stephon Diggs complained. People take Stephon Diggs' side. All right, there's other legitimate number one wide receivers. You've said it in the past. Say it again. Mark Schlereth would agree with you. I think the Browns right now would agree with you. He's a number one on this team.
Yeah.
And I think all Browns fans know you are a number one on this team. That doesn't mean you're a number one. If you were a number one, we'd all take your side. They don't. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. About last night, coming up in 5, there is a name out there that you are going to want to save the Cavs. I don't know if it's feasible, but I'm willing to talk about him if it gets brought up. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, that. And do you want to coach Penn State, Tone? Do you want to coach Penn State, Owen? You got the time?
I'll see.
Who's going to take this great Big Ten job? That's at About Last Night as well on The Fan.
Anthony Lima.
thefan.com.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. He couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Last night was not a good one over at Rocket Arena, with the Cleveland Cavaliers falling to the Portland Trail Blazers 122-110, the fourth loss in the Cavs' last 5 games, despite 56 combined points from Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. Head coach Kenny Atkinson talked after the game and was asked, is the team suffering from a hangover from the playoff loss last season?
I don't think it's a hangover in the sense that, we had a great season, let's just kind of relax this season. It's not that. I just think we're dealing with a lot of moving pieces right now, juggling a lot of things, and we'll get our footing. I'm confident in the group.
We kind of touched on it earlier, but is there a way that the Cavaliers can turn it around?
I don't want to build up a narrative that I don't want to agree with here. But like when you're asked about hangover, he's right. Like, no, it wasn't a great season. You just kind of rest your laurels. Is it an acceptance? I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. Is it an acceptance of, well, we're not really tough and we're not really that good? And because there is a malaise, there's no doubt it's settled over this franchise right now, and they got to break out of this.
Yeah, the only thing, Owen kept asking, well, what did they do to the team? The only thing to me noticeable that would be different in a positive way is Jalen Tyson looks like somebody who is absolutely a rotational player, and he does bring some physicality and some length and some athleticism. The problem is he's playing like a really young guy defensively. So he gives up a lot of points just from head not being on a swivel, not knowing where the ball is. But when it comes to actually like getting into it with guys and being physical, he does all that. He just has to learn the game now, and that's only going to come with reps. But there's not a lot to be. Yeah, Evan Mobley's had like 3 or 4 good games in a row offensively, but it's back in last year's role. It's not the role that we were hoping that he would take off and make this big leap. Basically, I've got it down to, in my mind, if I see him dribble the ball more than once, bad. Right now. He's fine in transition, I guess that's okay too. But if he is backing his way in and takes more than one dribble, bad. He just, right now, the stuff he's doing the best is just finishing. Or if he's left wide open like he was last night, Klingon was giving him 20 feet. Yeah, you just got to shoot the 3. He passed 2 up in the fourth quarter. He just can't do that right now.
Going from there, the college football news yesterday. The coaching decision has been made. Brian Hartline will be the next head coach of South Florida's football program, leaving as the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. Ryan Day yesterday being asked the question during his recruitment press conference.
The timing isn't great, but that's not Brian's fault. That's, other people's fault. And, hopefully we can get some of this stuff addressed. But it's like that for everybody in the country. So instead of being upset about it, we're going to embrace it. The plan is for him to continue to be with the team, which is a challenge for him. But that speaks to his character, that he wants to make sure he finishes this thing out the right way.
Now, I'm sure Ohio State can find another offensive coordinator. The question I've been seeing, are you worried about Ohio State's recruiting with Hartline being gone?
No, not necessarily. I think NIL's a game changer. I think for Brian Hartline, though, I think this year could end up being a struggle for him, so they're going to have to remain patient because I think Alex Golesh knew that he's going to lose a lot off that roster, and I don't know if you could just replace that in 1 year, but I think that you possibly could in 2027, so I think that that's going to be the big year, so there better be some understanding. So I don't want to go fly into crazy assumptions there. Go ahead with what your answer was going to be on that.
There's no doubt he's a big loss, but the beauty of Ohio State is you can have a big loss, and you can make up for it. Because the profile of that gig, there are going to be guys lining up to take that job. The problem is that the relationships that Hartline made in this recruiting cycle, that could potentially cost him. And we're looking to hear something more today about Chris Henry's kid, right? Chris Henry, Chris Jr.
I thought he was just staying at Ohio State.
Well, he is not. He said yesterday, after initial reports said that he was going to sign, he said, I have not committed as of now. It's expected to be by today, but Oregon and USC are apparently still in the mix.
Yeah, so obviously that would be a big blow because he looked like the next wide receiver plug and play. But you asked, how big of a deal is it? The boosters are just going to pay the biggest recruits. Like, they may miss this one, but so it'll hurt them maybe this recruiting cycle potentially. We don't know yet. But long term, the best guys, some of the best minds in the country are going to line up for jobs like this now, or the best up-and-comers.
Were you going to ask us about a possible replacement? I don't want to usurp you here.
Yes.
You were going to ask?
Yes.
Who was it going to be?
Do you want Chip Kelly back as offensive coordinator?
Okay, thank goodness you asked, because I didn't want to steal your thunder there. I absolutely would. I think that he was miserable in the NFL. I think he took the NFL job maybe as a paycheck, even though I think they could have given him more money at Ohio State. But I think that he's miserable in the NFL. I think that he loves calling plays in college football. You got an embarrassment of riches there at Ohio State. And I think that, I think that any Ohio State fan would definitely take him back. Should definitely take him back. I don't know. You're the Ohio State fan in here. Would you take him back?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously when he's credited with a big part of helping them, go on to win the national championship last year. But it's always tough. Like Ryan Day is also the guy that people say. I was hearing Joel Klatt. He was asked, "Who would you want on game day of all the coaches available in college football? Who would you want?" And he said, "Oh, number one is not Lane Kiffin." He says it's Ryan Day. So that's big time praise. So when I hear that, am I like, was it Chip Kelly last year?
Well, let me ask you another question. A lot of people are changing their minds about Matt Patricia lately.
Yeah.
Maybe the Giants are sniffing around with Matt Patricia again. Well, I think Jim Knowles is probably going to have an open position. Unless they make him the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions.
No,
would you take Jim Knowles back?
No, boy. It seems like that was very ugly departure all the way around.
A little bit of animosity there.
Can I bring up another team that needs a head coach? It needs a coach right now in general.
I think we just did.
Penn State, because for the second time in the last few days, they had a coach turn them down. First it was Kalani Sitake of BYU, then Jeff Brom from Louisville. What is going on with Penn State? It's affecting their recruiting right now. They're down to 150th in the 24/7 recruiting rankings.
It's a total disaster.
They took a bath, an absolute bath. It is an absolute disaster. They were one of the first teams there. It should be a job that is a place to go. I think that Pat Kraft has messed this thing up tremendously. I think that he's not put together the right type of looks for whoever he wants to bring in for this position.
And Kenny,
it should be a marquee job that people should be lining up to take, and they're not doing it.
Should be, because it's got such a dedicated alumni base and former players that make their way through planes, trains, and automobiles to get there on game days. And that doesn't happen everywhere in college football. The problem is any coach that's going to be going there or interviewing them wants a commitment, an NIL commitment. It's not just paying the coach. These coaches can get paid anywhere. They can go make a lot of money anywhere. That was a big part of Lane Kiffin going to LSU. LSU showed him a commitment, not just in his salary, but they said, we are going to pony up this much money every year to make sure that we are getting some of the best recruits in the country. Penn State's not doing that.
You put your eggs in this one basket, and there's a lot of money at BYU that I don't think that Pat Kraft was thinking about. And you put your eggs in that basket, and now you lose all these recruits. James Franklin took like 4 or 5 guys, I think it was, with him to Virginia Tech who were going to be there. And now I'm thinking, anybody who takes this job, I think you're set up to take a bath next year. What did they finish this year? Were they 5-7?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
So now you're probably somewhere in that neighborhood again, maybe 5-7, 6-6, maybe 4-8, and then
6-6.
6-6. Who was the interim head coach last year?
The guy who finished the year.
The guy who finished the year. I'm drawing a total blank. I'm sorry. They were chanting his name and they were putting up.
They might just have to do that.
Terry Smith.
They may have to hire him, but I think, and frankly, you didn't want to hire the guy. You definitely wanted to go in a different direction. There was a reason for that, and so like. When they hired Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, they really wanted to hire Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. Now they're just going to have to hire him, and you're going to have to hire somebody in 2 more years. Maybe even 1, according to Lima.
That's it for about last night.
Outstanding as always there, Mitch. Really good.
They had a head start on everybody.
It's terrible. It's totally unbecoming of a Big Ten college football program. Dane Brugler going to join us at 9 o'clock. Are the Browns maneuvering to move heaven and earth for a quarterback that's already not on the roster? Coming up next. If I can change, and you can change, we all can change, at least until week 18. It's on the Fan. Extend Technologies and
Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
We're going to activate Deshaun's practice window, so he'll be out there, which is outstanding for Deshaun. He's been working so hard, rehabbing, so finally to get out there on the practice field with his teammates, go through individual, I think is really great for him. So excited for him. His focus, my focus is obviously getting him back to playing football, practicing football, which he hasn't done in over a year. So good next step for him.
I have changed. And if I can change, you can change. I take back what I said to Baskin and Phelps yesterday. I got taken away, swept up in the excitement by Tone. He knows how to get me excitable and makes me say things I don't really want to say. But with a clear head, I don't think he's going to play this year. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to play this year. But that's the difference in me with a clear head and me before going, oh, scary times. Deshaun Watson's not going to play this year. No, I'm not trying to do that. What
changed other than you just jumping quickly to get an answer?
I don't think that there's a lot. Because with some time to think, I heard Kevin talk. Kevin did not seem to be very overly exuberant, but Kevin doesn't seem exuberant anyway. But he's always been pretty quiet about this. They seem to be pretty quiet about that, even tighter than usual. And Kevin's a snare drum for the most part when it comes to this stuff. I don't think they have any intentions on playing him this year. I think something disastrous has to happen over the next 5 games for him to play this year. I don't think they have any intention. I'm not trying to make any sort of insurance thing, anything like that. I just don't believe that they intend on playing him at all this year.
I agree. I thought he was going to play yesterday, and then listening to Kevin, and he said, I thought the practice window was going to open, and he was going to be in full team drills and stuff. And it sounds like, at least for the 21 days of this window, he's just going to be working on like his drop back.
Seems like it.
And maybe throwing to receivers in a line, but I don't think he's going to be doing team stuff.
I wonder, this is such a bizarre situation because as bad as Deshaun Watson had played when he was here, with the injuries, after the injuries, whatever, as bad as he had played, you imagine that guys like Jerry Jeudy would still rather play with him, right? Like, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I think Jeudy specifically, mainly because Deshaun, you at least expect is going to be able to see those windows downfield be, anticipatory throws and things like that, which it doesn't seem that Jeudy is getting any of right now.
And so if they see him over there, and these guys all remember when he was considered a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So the way those guys are, and the way that, Deshaun Watson apparently is always upbeat. He's been, unlike last year, where it seemed like he deserted the team for his rehab, he has been in the building a ton this year. And I just wonder, look, we know, as fans, we know the season's been over. And now they're starting to do musical chairs on the offensive line. The Wyatt Teller situation is something that could definitely contaminate things from within, let's be honest.
I mean, he's definitely in a boot, but I didn't think the decision before that was...
It's not good. It's not good. So, given that, I know there was the talk that, Shedeur, has pumped some excitement into that building. I'm sure it did. But now they're looking at somebody who's been towards the top, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL before. Injured or not, they're seeing that guy. Mm-hmm. And I wonder what that is going to do.
Well...
To the guys, especially the weapons.
If he plays, you're guaranteeing yourself you're taking a quarterback in the first round next year. It goes to 100%. If he plays this year...
Why is that?
Because either A, something disastrous has happened, and I don't want anything physically to happen to any of the quarterbacks. So something terrible has happened, and that means that, hey, you didn't get to see a whole lot, and you didn't get to see enough that makes you invest in the future of Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. So that's an out. The other part of it is that if he does play, that means that either Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel in that turn have also played, and they've been very, 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 very bad. That's why I think Sunday's a big day for Shedeur. But I still don't think that would necessitate Deshaun Watson coming in and playing. But you're not going to go into next year. They cannot allow themselves to do this. They've been fooled twice. They brought him in. He had a half a football. He got hurt. They tried to bring him back. They had Joe Flacco. They got rid of Joe Flacco to make sure he didn't get his feelings hurt. He was still bad. They can't get fooled again. So you can bring him back and make him the most expensive bridge quarterback that you've ever had and hope that whoever's in charge of the Browns, whether it still be Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, whether it be anybody else, you can still bring him back and then possibly try to get some sort of an asset. And that's going to be a low asset. Hopefully get some sort of an asset or have him start the season for quarterback X that's coming out. But that's what basically guarantees that. Because I don't see a future where you're going to excite anybody by going and starting the season with him. Even if you did go out and get Carnell Tate, and even if you did get Caden Proctor or anything like that, you're not seeing that situation happen. Plus, your second pick ain't going to be high enough, so you're not going to get... You can get one of them guys, you ain't going to get both of them guys. So... You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to want to use those picks and probably go ahead. And this Browns team, no matter what you guys think of these quarterbacks, you're going to want to go out and get one of those quarterbacks so you have something to have that you want to look forward to. Not just the fans, the franchise, because you still have veterans on this team that you can't move. Especially one in particular. That's going to be maybe the Seagull season sack record by the end of the weekend. So you got to keep that into your mind as you move forward with this football team. But all that said, I'm not as crazy as I was where I can't see him. He can't play. I'm open-minded to it. I'm curious now.
I'm surprised to even hear you've come that far.
Because the reaction from the fans here over these last few weeks, it has not been the fever at home that I thought it was really going to be. I think they were really excited when he came out against the Baltimore Ravens. I thought there was going to be much more excitement for him because it wasn't like he was bad at all against Vegas, and they won that game. And San Francisco's a different animal, I understand that, and the weather was lousy, but I really thought that there would be a lot more buzz for him on Sunday. And so that tells me that the internet and real life where Browns fans live, these are two different things. And I think Browns fans spoke by really not going to the game as much on Sunday that, yeah, they're maybe not as excited about him as we think they are.
Which surprised me. Even, I know the weather, but guys were going to Boulder to go see Shedeur. Rappers were lining up on the sidelines and celebrities. None of that happened for his debut
I don't want
in
to
the
hear
NFL.
I don't want to hear none about the weather. I mean, we all sit there and try to act and brag like it's a big home field advantage anyway. And you guys know damn well that if you thought he was that good, if you thought he was going to be that good, you would sit in a blizzard. You would sit on Everest to go watch that guy play. You did it already for another guy. Don't tell me you wouldn't do it for this guy if you really believed it. I don't care. By the way, he took over a bad team. They were 7-8-1 that year. You guys sat out in terrible weather to go see him play. Terrible. So I'm not going to hear any of that BS. That ain't happening. You told me on Sunday. You can tell me this Sunday, show up. That's one thing. But I don't think it's really that way. And so that might change my opinion on things where I thought for sure they would love to see the other guy. They'd love to see Shedeur. I didn't think it was the type of reaction I thought it was going to be. And it tells me that maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be as strident, as angry, as prone to boo as they were if Deshaun Watson came back out there. Which, I'm surprised to say that. Now, if Shedeur Sanders went out there and played well against the Tennessee Titans, and then a couple weeks later it was Deshaun Watson for no apparent reason, then I think that people would go nuts.
Yeah, well, that would make no sense.
I think they're in a moment where they really want this Browns team, and they want Shedeur to prove it. That's what they want. 216-474-0092. But I'm more open-minded. I'm much more open-minded than I was. Before, it was a total lockbox. No way, no how. I don't want to troll the fans. I don't want the fans to be upset. I don't think the fans care as much. as I thought, and I do think that some maybe have gone, hey, you know what? You're 3-9. I think that this team's going nowhere. There's probably change on the horizon here. If you want to throw him out there to see if he has anything left, kick the tires one more time, go right on ahead. Just don't put yourself too much into Hawk like you have before, like 3 first-round picks and $230 million and a huge albatross around your neck with the contract and the dead money. I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. Daniel in Mansfield, you're first up on the Fan. Hello.
Hey, Ken, how you doing?
Doing well. Go right on ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to bring this to your guys' attention and just number one, start out with this. I'm a big Shedeur fan. Actually, I bought his jersey. Love the kid. I love everything he's about. But from an organizational standpoint, you have to think and remember this. The last time we saw Deshaun Watson against Cincinnati, he was 15 for 17 for 128 yards in the first half going into the red zone when he popped his Achilles. I think if a quarterback played like that on this team right now, and also you got to think he didn't have a bunch of weapons at receiver either. I mean, granted, Amari Cooper, I believe, but he was at the tail end of his career, come to find out. I mean, I think we all would take that quarterback play right now. Agree, disagree?
Would you take it? Well, would it make that big of a difference? Because, I mean, I had another quarterback go 9 of 11, and nobody's calling up, banging off the phones to try to put him in as the franchise quarterback right now. The phone lines are open, guys. If you guys want to go ahead and tell me I'm wrong on that statement, you go right on ahead. There's plenty of people who saw 9 of 11, and they ain't calling me up about that. I'd love for you to.
From an organizational standpoint, that they have invested in Deshaun. The last time they saw him, 15 for 17 down the field, slice and dice, then popped his Achilles. I mean, I think they're going to at least going into next year give him a shot. No. I would assume, honestly. I mean, they got a lot invested in him.
Yeah, they do. But what are they going to? They can give him a shot to be on the football team. I don't disagree with you there, or Mary Kay when she said that he's going to be on the team. But there's no way you can invest any part of your future in him anymore. Anytime he plays well, he gets hurt. He played exceedingly well against Baltimore. He got hurt. He played well against Cincinnati in the first half. He got hurt. Other than that, he's played terribly for this team.
I mean, I agree with that. Like I said, I'm not a big Deshaun fan, but I'm just saying, I think as an organization, I think they're gonna go with him next year. Personally,
if they
they're gonna draft some weapons around him, and then I think that maybe Shedeur Dillon back up, and he's gonna start. I think that's what it's gonna be.
If they go with him. And Daniel, thank you for the call. If they go with him and they plan on nothing else behind him, and I mean, you can give me Shedeur if you want to. That's fine, I guess. If they don't have anything behind him that's going to excite this franchise, excite these players, I mean, you are asking for hell. Because we've tried to do this 3 times over, and it ain't worked. So I don't think there's a general manager out there who is possibly taking this job, or Andrew Berry himself, that's going to leave them with no outs. They're going to leave themselves an out. I think if he plays this year, you just about guarantee he's going to be there. 216-474-0092. Dane Brugler at 9. Coming up in 5 minutes. Could Deshaun Watson see the field before the end of this year? In the NFL, he's practicing as of yesterday. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Mary Kay going to answer that question in 5 on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
one-year Major League contract on Wednesday. Deal's worth $900,000. Last season with the LA Angels, Brogdon 3-2, a 5.55 ERA in 43 appearances. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show, followed by Thursday Night Football. All starts out at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Big-time winnable game coming up on Sunday. Of course, there's people who believe there's conspiracy afoot, which might lead to a diabolical question later on. Dane Brugler going to join us at 9, and I don't know. Lima says he's got something for me, but he don't know if he's going to use it today or tomorrow. Oh, God, you and Owen looking at me like that. Mary Kay Cabot joins us right now. Mary Kay, I'm sorry you have to put up with this craziness, this clown show that is us talking to you, but we thank you very much for your time. First off, could Deshaun Watson see... Do you believe Deshaun Watson will see an actual in-game action this year?
I think the only way that happens is if there are injuries to Shedeur and Dillon, because I think they really want to see a bunch more of Shedeur. And if by chance he gets injured or can't play or they've seen enough or whatever, then I think that they would go back to Dillon. So I think the rest of this season really is about the rookies and trying to figure out what they have in those guys to inform plans for the 2026 draft. So I don't think the plans are to play Deshaun this season on only, 2 or 3 weeks of practice. And that's basically what I expect to happen.
Well, overall, the experience so far, it's only been 2.5 games. And obviously, it's insane to project anything out of so few games. And, just the situations. There just hasn't been a lot of opportunities for, Shedeur to really open things up. But when people kind of analyzed the game film, they're noticing that he has kind of held it a little bit, hasn't really trusted taking those shots. Is that something you think they're working on him day and night?
Well, I think it's something that he's working on day and night, as well as them working on it, because he has been saying over and over again, he's telling us that he really doesn't trust what he's seeing in his receivers yet. And a lot of that is because of the fact that he hasn't worked with these guys. And so not only is he trying to learn the game and learn how to read defenses and learn how to go through his progressions and figure out what's going on in front of him pre-snap and all those kinds of things, he also doesn't have any timing or chemistry down with the primary pass catchers on this football team yet. They're all working on it very hard, but you can see that he doesn't really have it. I mean, if you look even at a Ced Tillman, he hasn't thrown the ball to Ced Tillman. He's not throwing the ball very much to Jerry Jeudy or David Njoku. So it just hasn't come yet with those guys. He's only practiced with them for 2 weeks. Now he's into his 3rd week of that. And they're trying to accelerate the process, but that's part of the problem. It's why he's holding onto the ball so long. He's not looking out there and seeing it and hitting it and letting it rip. And he even said that yesterday. He's got to see it and pull the trigger. Now, that's easier said than done, because if you don't have that timing and you don't have that chemistry, you can pull the trigger all you want, and it's not going to result in completions unless you two are on the same page. So one of the things that I would be doing with Shedeur and Jerry this week, if I were them, I would be spending a lot of extra time together. I would be texting back and forth about certain plays that they've worked on this week, and I would be watching film together. Whatever they need to do, those two guys in particular need to get it together.
Do you believe that the play calling and the offensive game plans are helping Shedeur? Do you believe that they best suit him?
I think the plays are there. And yes, they have brought him along slowly, just like they have done in practice. They've done the same thing in the game because you have to. That's what you have to do with a rookie quarterback. You don't give them every single thing in their first week. You just don't completely open up the playbook and then give them all the pre-snap responsibilities in week 1. And remember, his starting was accelerated. So he wasn't even supposed to be starting yet. He was still in coming up the learning curve phase in some things. They've already taken a few things off of his plate to help him go out there and succeed, including having Ethan Posich slide the protections, or at least I knew he did that in the first game. So it's just a process. It's a process with rookies, and you can see when you look at some other rookies this season, it's been an occupational hazard to coach rookies, right? Brian Daboll lost his job. Brian Callahan lost his job coaching rookies. So that's how it goes in the life of rookie quarterbacks. And remember, this is a 5th-round rookie, too. This was not a first-rounder. So for anybody to expect that this was going to be a well-oiled machine right now, I think those expectations were too lofty.
All right, the Jerry Jeudy situation, both attempted to downplay it yesterday. What did you make of all of that, both seeing what you saw on the sideline and how they've reacted to it since?
Well, I think it's frustration on the part of Jerry Jeudy, who's been now through 3 quarterbacks, and it just hasn't been working out really with any of them. And I do think that he's frustrated, and some of that came out on the sidelines. And he's human. These guys are all human. And when things aren't going well and the team is losing, sometimes tempers will flare. And that's what happened. And those 2 guys, obviously, for all the world to see, we got a window into what's going on between those 2. And that's why I'm emphasizing the fact that more so than anybody on the team right now, those 2 need to make sure that they're in sync and they're in concert as much as they possibly can be. We know that Shedeur, who, by the way, wore his Hungry Dog T-shirt yesterday, which I'm just saying, he has a comfort level with those guys. He would let it rip in practice and whatnot to the Gage Larvadans and those guys. But he just doesn't have that feeling of, I know what Jerry's going to do in this situation. I know where to put the ball on his body. I know how he's going to respond. I know exactly what he's going to do on a scramble drill or whatever. He doesn't have that with those guys yet, and there's not a whole lot of time left to get it, but they have to do whatever they can to try.
All right, Mary Kay, offensive line and the Wyatt Teller situation. This seems very surprising to us. Now, we do know that Wyatt did end up getting injured and had a walking boot and all of that, but what led to this musical chairs to begin with?
Just looking out there and studying the film and watching the tape and seeing that perhaps maybe alternating series might be in his best interest. It had to be for effectiveness. Even he said that, and he knows that. You don't alternate a veteran guard like that if everything is going great. So if you even just look at the rankings, which, of course, the Browns don't always agree with those PFF rankings, you see that Joel is 12th and Wyatt was 67th. So you don't land down that far in the rankings if everything's going great. So whatever the case was with Wyatt, and I haven't studied guard film enough this season to know exactly what was going on with him, but apparently they felt they needed to see something else there, and that's what's going on, and it's a development to watch because Wyatt's contract is up. So it's just something to keep an eye on here.
So is his days numbered?
At this point right now, I think when he gets back from the calf injury, he's going to have to show some things, and maybe he will. Maybe he'll do whatever he needs to do, or maybe he comes back next year in a different capacity or something. I'm not exactly sure what the end result will be, but certainly when they're alternating you and you've basically not lost your starting job, but you're sharing your starting job, you have to take a look at that, an unflinching look at that, and understand that perhaps this could mean something different for your future.
Well, and this really isn't a question for you, but you're the one sitting here, so I have to ask. Mary Kay Cabot joining us on the show. Did they really think he was playing that bad where they needed to work in Tevin Jenkins during a game to get him reps to see what he was doing while we're trying to protect Shedeur Sanders, a rookie?
Well, the other aspect of this is they do have to rebuild their line for next year. They know that. And if you have an opportunity to audition someone for the job, this is the time to do it. They know, for the most part, they're not going anywhere this year. And it's a chance to look at some younger guys. And I think you'll see more of that over these last 5 games. They have to know what they have to build this roster for 2026.
Is that then, can I take that as how they feel about Shedeur Sanders in truth? Because if Shedeur Sanders was taken number 2 overall, I really don't believe that they would be rotating guards during the game with him back there at quarterback.
Well, if you thought the other guard that you were rotating in might be better or have a chance to be better or have a chance to do something a little bit differently than what your current guard is doing, they're certainly not going to be doing something to intentionally hurt Shedeur, and we need to get people off of that narrative. We really need to get people off of the narrative that the Cleveland Browns are doing things to hold Shedeur back, to hamper Shedeur, to sabotage Shedeur, and to set him back. That stuff is not happening. It's fiction. I've seen every single minute of every practice that I can possibly watch, all the way back to, I went to a showcase. I've seen every single minute of this whole story. And they're not trying to hurt Shedeur, and they're not putting Tevin Jenkins in.
No, I got to tell you, Mary Kay, I agree with that. I don't think that they're doing it. But again, if he were that big of an investment, if you just felt that Tevin Jenkins was better, you just felt any offensive line was better, you just put them in there and they start the game and that's where it goes. I don't know if I want to let guys get cold and then have other guys have to go in on 4th and 1 and do all these other things where I'm still trying to figure out what I have in my quarterback. I think in a way they kind of tell us what they may think of him right now. Because I wouldn't do that for a number 2 overall pick. I wouldn't do that for a first rounder.
Well, I'm sorry, but I do disagree with you on that.
That's fine.
I just don't think that that's something that they're doing. They would not do it. Let me put it that way. They would not do this if they thought it would hurt their rookie quarterback. I mean, they're not going to do that. They're trying to see if Shedeur Sanders can be their starting quarterback in 2026. So they're certainly not going to risk him getting hurt and do something that wouldn't be in his best interest. So that has nothing to do with what's going on. They're trying to audition another player at guard. They're trying to see if they can maybe bring out the best in Wyatt Teller, maybe try to light a fire under him a little bit. Not that he would need to have a fire lit under him, but sometimes you get motivated if you lose half of your job. So I think it's more about what's going on their offensive line and how to upgrade it for next season than it is about trying to hold back Shedeur or maybe not do something in his best interest.
Mary Kay, with the news yesterday about Deshaun Watson, you've been all over this story about this window that would open up, but do you think we'll get to the point where they will ease him into actually getting reps? I know that was the big discussion a few weeks ago when it came to Shedeur, and then eventually backing up and then maybe even starting a game this year.
Well, when it comes to Browns quarterbacks, you can never say never because we never know what's going to happen, right? You don't get to number 42 without a lot of strange things happening at the quarterback position. Some of those things happen because of injuries, and some of those things happen for other reasons. But I can't honestly say that there's no way he's going to get into a game this season, but I don't think it's the plan. Like I said before, I really do think this is about trying to figure out if one or both of those rookies can be a big part of your plans for 2026. And right now, I think the question is, can Shedeur be your starter for 2026? So you're right. They do need to start seeing more of what he can do, and he needs to start showing more of what he can do out there so that they can really make a strong determination on if they need to draft a quarterback early with those one or both of those 2 first-round picks in 2026. This is a big audition for him, and he's got to nail it if they're not going to take a quarterback. I think that's going to be hard to do because I don't think that the supporting cast they're all not working well together necessarily, as I said before. I think it'll be hard for Shedeur to go out there and show that he can bring out the best in Jerry Jeudy and Ced Tillman and really get this passing game going when he doesn't really have the timing and chemistry with those guys. Maybe it'll come. It'll probably look better on Sunday against the 1-11 Titans. This is not a good football team. So maybe they'll go out there and win, and we'll have overreaction Monday again, and everyone will think that the future is extremely bright at quarterback and whatnot. And then you've got to go to Chicago and see if you can do it again against a really good defense. So it's a week-by-week thing right now. And as far as Deshaun is concerned, as I said before, I do think he probably will start to run some scout team if he shows that he can handle that in practice. They're easing him in. That's smart. And then if he can pass that day's test, then he can move on and maybe start to run the scout team. I think he's the best best quarterback on the team right now. And I don't think that that's far-fetched to say that he's a 3-time Pro Bowler and he knows the game so much better than those guys. And at this moment, he is the best quarterback on this team. And I also want to make this point, which I've made it in print many times. He's going to be back on this football team next year. His cap number, his cap charge of $80 million is such that you need to have him on the team next year. It doesn't make sense not to. And he's also established himself as a good football mentor to the young guys. And he'll be able to do that again next year if he's not playing.
Mary Kay, was people disagreeing with you about that? I didn't. I took it as gospel when you told me about that.
Well, I'm just trying to make that clear. In fact, I did a little explainer this morning, which I haven't tweeted out yet or X'd out yet or whatever, just about what some of these things mean and what's going to happen. And it's just a little short thing, kind of a FAQ type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if people really realize that he's going to be on the team next year, and I just want to make that clear.
Okay. Mary Kay, thank you very much for the time. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com, on the Fan Hotline. All right, we got Dane Brugler coming up at 9 because he is from The Athletic. He's saying the Browns are maneuvering to make a wild move that we have to discuss with him at 9 o'clock. Can I just get back on the offensive line thing real quick when we come back?
We have to also dispel a play that is circulating that people have been tagging the FBI and wanting investigations done after they saw 2 whiffs and some questionable blocking.
Is that the punt from last week?
No.
Oh.
The 4th and 1.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, Ken Carman, Tone Master General, fat and thin in the morning, the guy who got it 100% right, and the chubby guy on the right who's scared, live on the Fan.
All right, real estate.
whatever he needs to do, or maybe he comes back next year in a different capacity or something. I'm not exactly sure. They do have to rebuild their line for next year. They know that. And if you have an opportunity to audition someone for the job, this is the time to do it.
Can I take that as how they feel about Shedeur Sanders in truth?
I'm sorry, but I do disagree with you on that.
That's fine.
I don't. They would not do this if they thought it would hurt their rookie quarterback. I mean, they're not going to do that. They're trying to see if Shedeur Sanders can be their starting quarterback in 2026.
That's Mary Kay Cabot with us just moments ago. See, I don't know if she took it the right way, and I wanted to clarify because it's like, I don't think they're trying to hurt him, but I think there is a question on how much you're willing to help in that case. I mean, I could explain that as easily as I possibly can. I don't want to talk down to anybody.
Ken, we've got social media reactions brought to you by Scheibman Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. They agree with Mary Kay.
On guards.
Oh, the Texas Truth on YouTube, he says, teams rotate O-line every week. First rounders and all. Ken stupid.
That's what they said?
Yes.
Okay, you can go to YouTube Live and get in the chat if you want to. The Texas Truth.
The real Texas Truth.
What do they say again?
Ken stupid.
But what did they say before that?
Oh, I agreed with that part. So,
Ken's a dodo.
Teams rotate O-line every week, first rounders and all. Talking about quarterbacks, first round.
Somebody said that they rotate lines every week, and they bothered to call me stupid.
Yeah,
I'm glad you don't have your real government name out there. That'd be pretty embarrassing.
Teams
don't know
do.
that it's not.
Kenny, you are right on this part of it. No team wants to. I mean, you brought it up with Deshaun Watson. When they had Deshaun Watson, the last thing they wanted to do was start moving guys around. Yeah. At all costs, you try to keep your guys.
That's why, I'm glad you watch the show on YouTube, The Texas Truth. You don't know football. And I hate to talk down to you, but I have to talk down to you. You don't know the game. They would have never tried to just rotate guys in and out to see if they had it with Deshaun Watson when he was starting. Here, $230 million quarterback back there. Okay, we're going to have this guard play this time. Because we got to see what we have with the guards. And we're going to do that. They do it when they don't think that quarterback is going to be that great for them because they got to get ready for next year. Because Wyatt might not be here next year. Joel might not be here next year. They did that. Remember, they did that when they thought DeJuan Jones was struggling. Who'd they have back there? They had Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco wasn't their franchise quarterback when they did that with DeJuan Jones struggling over at left tackle. They didn't do that. If Shedeur Sanders was a first round, so if they're a Shedeur fan or not a Shedeur fan, I have no idea. If you're a Shedeur fan, you advocate for them switching around guards for your quarterback?
Look, if I was a diehard Shedeur fan, I would not want them experimenting with the guys that protect the guy that I'm most interested in.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So I don't know if they're a Shedeur fan or not.
Yeah, I don't think that they're doing it to get him hurt, or they're doing it to hurt his chances of being a good quarterback on purpose. I don't think they're doing that. But when you're rotating guys around, well, we got to see what we have in this guy. You follow the Chiefs real well. I just want to make sure they don't.
The only time they did it last year with Joe Tooney, who's one of the best, linemen in the NFL, because they had to, because they had no left tackle. Yeah. They moved him from guard to tackle, and they had to do it. And you saw in the Super Bowl exactly what happened.
If they would have taken Wyatt Teller and put him over at right tackle because Jack Conklin got banged up, then I have no argument. But we're not. And I know Creed Humphrey's probably a better center than what Wyatt Teller is as a guard. I can accept that. But you're not. Hey, we got to get this guy worked in because we don't know if he's going to play center or guard. So Creed, if you're going to come out here. Oh, okay. Yeah, Andy Reid's going to do that.
I can't.
But I'm the wrong one.
It's also something that doesn't feel like happens in what was last week, week 13. Yeah. That feels like a week 16, 17, 18.
That's why the real football guys
Wyatt
are in
Teller
the room.
just got his 100 start. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Well, he just got his first benching, too.
I wish Tevin Jenkins the best. I hope he watches out for that 100 start and really enjoys the 99th.
Ken, people are tagging the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
All right, show me this here.
So I've tilted. I'm showing him the screen.
Yeah.
Of the 4th and 1 where they went heavy. Right? Is that?
Yeah, that's early in the game.
KT Levinson.
That's KT Levinson.
Right?
Okay, they bring him in. They show Conklin.
He's got that weight on that hand. He's ready to go. Look at his ass. That's great.
They show Conklin whiffing on the right side.
Yeah.
And on the left side, was it Batonio?
Left side was Batonio.
That whiffed as well. So
that's Tevin Jenkins and Leroy Jenkins in front of him.
So people are saying...
Can I just call him Leroy Jenkins?
Fine.
Okay.
People are saying this is evidence...
It's not a knock.
...of a unit that is sabotaging one Shedeur Sanders.
No.
How would you refute that, if at all?
I don't know. They gave the ball to Quinshon Judkins. Why are they trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders? Is that your case? Are you seeing the same play?
I mean, do
you want Fatlock to walk into the courtroom here? You might as well do it.
Counselor,
hello, everybody.
No.
Something stinks in this courtroom here. All right, I'm watching this play over and over. This is a TikTok video you got up here?
Owen said it was poorly designed to begin with.
It does look bad.
And Owen's a football coach. You're a football coach,
Wait,
Ken.
now, wait a minute. A, B, C. All right, Jack Conklin's trying to control the B. KT Levinson's trying to control the B gap. This is supposed to go A, B gap, right side. Joel Batonio just happens to whiff. They did the good old Olay.
Yep.
If this was...
Sounds like an A-B conversation I should see my way out of.
It wasn't Joel Batonio's guy that made first contact in the backfield either.
It was... Let me see it again. I think that this was basically... You kind of took too much time to hand the ball off to Quinshon Judkins if this was a play that...
You're blaming Shedeur?
No. Guys, you got to look at it closer.
No. Shut up. I'm not blaming him. If Shedeur would have just dove with it, it would have been fine. If that was the play call, he ran the call. What? What's the issue?
The middle linebacker is unblocked in the deal. He makes first contact.
Too. Yeah.
That was because Posick
you're laying on the ground.
Posick and Leroy are doubling A gap.
You
right?
can reach
They're
up,
trying to blow out A gap, which is fine. But there was no chip and look backside. That linebacker's coming untouched. He was going to blow that play up even if those guys didn't dive on the ground and whiff.
This wasn't on purpose. This was just poorly executed.
This is poor play.
And by the way, how bad is my offense that I'm missing Aiden Huntington right now as a backup defensive lineman who usually would play that spot?
That's why I thought...
What are we doing?
I thought that was supposed to be him coming in there.
Who's the person on YouTube who yelled at me just a second ago?
Oh, Texas Truth.
The Texas Truth?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. If I'm sitting there wishing for Aiden Huntington to come back like that, no offense to Aiden Huntington, but if we're wishing that we need backup defensive tackles to come back to help our offense here, then we're cussing each other out for no reason, guys. I'm sorry. You know what? Let's not take it that seriously here. We're set up to yell at each other. KT Levinson, poor guy. Yeah, poor all of them. No. It would make more sense. Guys, it would make more sense if they were olaying on purpose. It's not. It's just the Cleveland Browns. Welcome. Welcome to the fan base. It's just poorly executed. That's all. Yep. Let me see it again. You done looking at it?
That was a good... Well,
looking at it? Well, no, thanks to Owen.
You know who quote tweeted it was one of Shedeur Sanders' advocates.
Who?
Boog.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the person. I'm sorry.
So that's happening.
What are you looking at now? You're looking at your basketball
I'm going to give you the radio play-by-play while you guys look at the video.
All right, here we go.
Give to Quinshon, hit in the backfield, he didn't get it. Browns went for it on fourth down, and the Niners blew it up. They turned it over on downs at the San Francisco 21.
Why didn't Andrew say, line obviously sabotaged, Browns turned over on downs?
Hey, I have to say, Shedeur accepted responsibility in a way none of his fans would for him yesterday. I mean,
he handed the ball off. He didn't do anything bad.
No. I'm just saying in general, for the way he played in that game yesterday when he talked in front of the media, it seemed like he was accepting responsibility, which is interesting because none of his fans have seen any of the reviews and accepted responsibility for him. So he's admitting that he needs to play a lot better. His fan base must disagree.
That's all right. I mean, I just came to a stark recognition again of what this situation is. Again, no offense to KT Levinson or even Aiden Huntington for that matter. Oh, here's Shedeur. Is this on the play or is
this is just on him as the starting quarterback.
Okay, go ahead.
I say day by day, live action by live action. I see my faults and I see, what I do good and what I need to work on. I definitely take that in consideration whenever I go and prepare everything I do. And if I need to see more pictures of certain things, then I got to do what's necessary for me to be successful.
Kenny, he said he sees his faults.
Yeah. It's not that he doesn't know how to watch film. He knows how to watch film.
Well, why didn't he say, I see everyone missing blocks?
Because it was poorly executed, but he knows they didn't do it on purpose. Why are we having that conversation? That's enough.
It's a conversation that exists in social media and, in the fandom right now.
We're at an all-time low for social media, and think of the territory that takes in.
Once again, brought to you by Shabba Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
You can call Fatlock. Don't be calling Cash Patel on these things. Okay? They got other things that they need to talk about and investigate.
Shohei, come on. What are we doing?
Now there's something that's worth it. Coming in hot's at 9:45, so that's where we leave that on Friday, tomorrow. Dane Brugler up next. He had a very spicy meatball on what the Browns could very well be doing if Shedeur doesn't work out this year or Deshaun Watson doesn't come back this year or anything like that. There's a very, 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 very strong opinion of what they could do. Dane's going to share it with us at 9:01 on The Fan. Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal. Folks, if you've been hurt in a car, if you've been hurt in an accident, if you've been hurt on the job, it's time that you get what you deserve, and what you deserve is peace of mind. I want you to make that call today. 216-522-9000. That's 216-522-9000, merrimanlegal.com.
for the Cavs, 23 points and 10 rebounds. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show, followed by Thursday Night Football. All starts out at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Let's welcome in Dane Brugler right now on the Fan Hotline. Dane, hello.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
So we're doing well. How do you come up with your mock drafts? Because I want to explain this to everybody before we get into the real nitty-gritty of the mock draft. You came out with your latest one. It set the world asunder. How do you come together with your latest mock draft? How do you think teams are going to go?
Well, I mean, and this is the first mock I've done this year. I beg my editors, let me wait until at least after Thanksgiving so we have at least an idea of what the draft order is going to look like and who the players are going to be in the draft class. And so, yeah, this is my first mock of this 2026 cycle. Basically, my philosophy when doing a mock is I want to be able to defend every single pick. Every single pick, 1 through 32, I can put logic behind and reasoning behind why that should be the selection, or at least that's one scenario how it could go. Because that's all mock drafts are. It's not, this is how it's going to be. It's just how it could be based off of what these teams are traditionally do, their trends, based off of the needs on the team, based off of the way they have drafted in the past. This is the way that this draft could go. And so in this draft is going to be very unique if the draft order holds, because at the top you have two teams in the Titans and the Giants who do not need a quarterback. And then behind them you have a handful of teams that do need quarterbacks. And this is shaping up to be a very exclusive group of quarterbacks at the top. It's going to be a smaller number. And so if you don't have your quarterback, you're going to be left without a chair. And so that's why we could see some trade action at the top of the draft.
Why, for you, Mendoza over Moore?
Honestly, and I think that I might actually go Moore as the better quarterback prospect. I went with Mendoza for the Browns in this scenario because I think, first of all, he's a lot more NFL ready. Like, he's ready to be a starter tomorrow, where Moore, it might take a little bit extra time. He's just 20 years old. He's got under 20 career starts. You know, there's a lot more with Moore that's going to take time for him to develop. Where with Mendoza, he's ready to step in and execute an NFL offense. And I think that's where the Browns are with where they are in their roster construction. I think, we'll see about any possible regime change, but of all the reasons they love Dylan Gabriel throughout the process, that's why I think they're going to like Fernando Mendoza as well, except Mendoza has better physical traits and better upside than Dylan Gabriel has. So that's why I went with Mendoza at 1. I think it fits what the Browns could be looking for. But I don't think it's a clear cut he's quarterback 1. I'm a big fan of Dante Moore. And, for the longest time this year, it looked like Dante Moore was going to go back to school. But, and that was assuming that there wouldn't be a coaching change. But now with Will Stein, the offensive coordinator, taking the head coaching job over at Kentucky, that might move the needle a little bit. And, we still have 6 weeks until the underclassmen deadline. So these things are fluid. They could change. Dan Lanning is a very persuasive guy. And we know Oregon has NIL funds. So, by no means is it a set in stone that Dante Moore will come out. But scouts believe that is a much more likely scenario now compared to maybe a month ago.
So under what circuit? Well, let me ask you this then. Because I think a lot of people would say, well, you're saying Moore's better. Why don't they just take Moore? But you bring up the rest of the roster. Maybe like Myles Garrett's not going to get any younger, and he's at his zenith. Maybe this could provide some pop. But I do think that people look at just the great hope of what a quarterback can give them. I don't think they're ever comfortable, but then why wouldn't the Browns just take Dante Moore then if he's going to end up being the better overall quarterback?
Well, if that's what they believe, then they should. I don't think, I think there will be no consensus. There will be split opinions throughout the league about who the top quarterback is. There's a lot to like about both these guys. Personally, I might lean towards Dante Moore, but I would not be surprised if several teams feel differently and would rather go with Mendoza. I think not that one game it changes all that much. But scouts cannot wait to see Mendoza this weekend go up against that Ohio State defense, because this year, against the two best defenses he faced this year, which was Penn State and Oregon, he was a little bit up and down in those games. Now, he played his best in the fourth quarter, especially that Penn State game, the final drive. What I like about Mendoza is when he does make a mistake, he eliminates it immediately, comes back and makes a play. On the Oregon tape, throws a pick six, one of the biggest mistakes he's made all year. The next drive, they get the ball right back. He marches them down on a touchdown drive, the very next drive. And then against Penn State, we saw what he did on that final drive, leading the team down after that second half interception that was bad. So against Ohio State, which will be the closest thing to an NFL defense that he will face in his career, what does it look like? How does he come up with solutions to all these problems that Caleb Downs and Orville Reese are going to present? The Indiana offense is very much a RPO heavy. It's a very balanced offense. They rely on the run, which helps them set up the pass. There's only one Big Ten team that ranks top 10 nationally in rushing, and that's Indiana. So how does when we look at how these teams match up, a lot's going to be put on the quarterback to make the right decisions at the line of scrimmage, pre and post snap. And that's really what has been the superpower for Mendoza this year, is that football intelligence and really what separates him. And that's why he's getting comped to Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, that style of quarterback when I talk to NFL scouts.
Dane Brugler from The Athletic join us on the hotline. So we talk all the time about first-round grades, and it sounds like obviously you have first-round grades for the two quarterbacks we were just talking about. How does that rank or comparatively with some of the guys from last year that were drafted? Like Cam Ward, I imagine you had a first-rounder, but what about Jackson Dart, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting, these last two quarterback classes, if you just lump all these quarterbacks together, who would be QB1? I liked Cam Ward last year, but, I didn't grade him as a high first-round pick. He was more of a mid-first-round pick, but when you are a quarterback that projects as a starter, you're going to go. But I think that as much as I liked Cam Ward, I won't be surprised that when it's all said and done and we put the final grades on these guys, that both Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza are ahead of Cam Ward in the grade that we gave him last year. So, but I think these guys are close. Like, it's not an absolutely this guy's better, that guy's better. I think that it will be pretty close when we try to stack these guys from these last two classes. Now, if we want to include the year before as well, there's no quarterback the last 2 years that I think comes close to the three quarterbacks that were drafted 1, 2, 3 3 years ago with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. That was a really special class. And, I remember having fans tell me that Drake May wasn't very good coming out of North Carolina. So, we're always going to get a lot of different opinions on who these quarterbacks are and how they project. But I think the biggest argument against the Browns drafting a quarterback in April is this team's not a quarterback away, right, from being a contender. The wide receiver depth chart is arguably the worst in the league. The offensive line needs to get younger, needs to get more talented. And, I think it'll be interesting if there's a regime change. Maybe there will be a little more patience. It feel like they could wait until 2027 to get that quarterback. But, regardless, this Browns team, they need help at quarterback in the worst way. They have the draft ammo. They have the motivation. They wanted to draft a quarterback last year in the top 5, but it was a one quarterback class in their eyes, and the Titans weren't going to budge at number 1. This year is a little bit different, and so it won't be surprising at all if the Browns are the most motivated of all these quarterback-needy teams in terms of going and getting that quarterback.
But you do have Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza graded much higher than, say, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yes. No question about that. I mean, and then nothing against those players. Those players have ceilings with what they are going to be at the NFL level. When we're seeing that play out on Sundays, they're good quarterbacks in terms of being able to operate an offense and go out there and, at least try to put the team in position to compete. but they have ceilings of what they're going to be at the NFL level. And so then the Browns, nobody knows that more than the Browns. And that's why in this scenario, in this mock, I had them trading up to get a quarterback with a higher ceiling, and it's going to help them compete.
What do you tell Dane Brugler joining us on the show? What do you tell people? I mean, you grew up in Northeast Ohio, who you may know who might just be kind of, it seems like that we're all afraid to take a quarterback anyway just because of the history. And it's like anybody we take is going to be bad. What do you tell them? Because it's like, well, let's wait until 27. And like, I think a lot of people will talk themselves out of Julian Sayin or Lenore Sellers or Arch Manning or whoever they're going to probably look at if they were to kick the can to 2027. It's like we don't want to do it because of the history.
I'll never forget a couple of years ago when Drake May, down the stretch of that North Carolina, his final year at North Carolina, they lost to Clemson, they lost to NC State, and like it didn't all look perfect. And the amount of people telling me how crazy and wrong I was for ranking Drake May as high as I did, that's everyone's so reliant on one or two games and not the body of work. And I get it from Browns fans. I get the cynicism when you think about the history of the position for this organization. Part of it is not being bad in the right years to get a Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Joe Burrow. One of those. You weren't wrong, or you weren't bad in the right year, right? And the years that they have been really bad, they have drafted the wrong guy. Whether that's not drafting a Josh Allen, not drafting, and there's so much more that goes into this. If they drafted Josh Allen, who knows if he turns out to be the MVP caliber quarterback that he is in Buffalo. So much of it is development. So much of it is the culture of what you're bringing these guys into. And so, but at the same time, you can't stop trying. You can't stop trying to throw resources at the most important position on the roster. And when you think about the Browns and drafting quarterbacks, they haven't drafted a quarterback high since Baker Mayfield. And then what was it before Baker? Like they haven't. It's not like they've drafted a quarterback top 5 every year for the past how many years? Like it's still, you need to take your chances. And last year they wanted to, but they didn't have a chance at Cam Ward, and they didn't want to make a mistake and draft someone that it was going to be too early to take them last year in a one quarterback class the way they saw it. So I get it. I understand the concerns, but at the same time, keep throwing those darts until eventually you land on one.
You have Arvell Reese 3, Carnell Tate 4. I imagine as I'm scrolling down, Caleb Downs, okay, you have him 10th to the Bengals. Talk about, are these guys freaks? Like, could this in any draft, would they be high, or is it more specific to this draft?
No, I mean, they're really good players. Obviously, Ohio State fans know how good these guys are. And in this mock draft, there's actually 5 Buckeyes in the top 20, which would match the record for most draft picks from one school in a top 20. It's funny because if Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith were eligible, shoot, it would be a lot more. But yeah, I mean, Arvell Reese is the best player in this draft. He's the hybrid linebacker that can play off the ball, and as a rusher, he can get after the quarterback. He just impacts the game in so many ways. He's going to go high. Caleb Downs is going to be the interesting one because you can make an argument he's the best pure football player in this draft, but teams have sent clear messages about how they feel about drafting safeties early. And so, Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, could find himself in a similar situation, playing a position that's not really viewed as a premium spot. But in this draft, I think teams will be maybe a little more open to drafting those guys in the top 10. But Caden McDonald is also in that top 20, the nose tackle, who's had just a phenomenal year, been one of the best defensive linemen in all of college football. So it's a really good year. I mean, last year, obviously 14 Buckeyes drafted. They're going to be well represented especially in the first round this year. Carnell Tate has been, I don't think I anticipated him going that high when the season started, but as detailed as a receiver as he is, as dominant as he is at the catch point, his vertical ability is something that every team is going to want to have on their team. So, the Carnell Tate has put himself in that top 10 mix.
Dane, thank you very much for the time, brother. All the very best to you. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk to you again in the spring.
All right, anytime. Thanks, guys.
The great Dane Brugler joining us from The Athletic on the Fan Hotline. Was his answer satisfactory?
I mean, how about all those Buckeyes up top? But what I was maybe not blown away from is, we compare all these classes to each other. Nothing will come close. 3 years ago, a couple of years ago, he's talking about Caleb Williams and Drake May and that class. But he does have right now, sounds like Mendoza and Moore ahead of where Cam Ward was last year. And he says miles ahead of Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. So people keep saying, why would anybody want these quarterbacks? I mean, when look at what Shedeur Sanders did last year in college. He's basically saying Shedeur is not in the same stratosphere in terms of a grade. That doesn't mean, Brock Purdy was a 7th-round pick, right? So that doesn't mean that it's curtains for Shedeur. He's just saying as far as ceilings and profiles and all that, he's saying Mendoza more way, way ahead of Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel.
Coming up next, you have a diabolical question for me.
I do. That pertains to the draft, that pertains to 2 first-round picks, and pertains to this game Sunday against Tennessee.
And you know what that is over there, correct? You know what this question is going to be?
Oh, of course.
Am I going to get red-faced and angry?
You are Ken Carman.
Okay. We will go over this diabolical question in 5 minutes.
The Fan Bud Light Tailgate is back. 6 hours of game day coverage. Nick Pud.
Mendoza over Moore?
I might actually go Moore as the better quarterback prospect. I went with Mendoza for the Browns in this scenario because I think, first of all, he's a lot more NFL ready. Like, he's ready to be a starter tomorrow, where Moore, it might take a little bit extra time, just 20 years old, under 20 career starts. There's a lot more with Moore that's going to take time for him to develop, where with Mendoza, he's ready to step in and execute an NFL offense.
All right, Tone Master General. That was Dane Brugler. You say you have yourself a diabolical question off the heels of Dane Brugler with us just moments ago.
I think I do because obviously...
might have to busk. I might have to sneeze.
Yeah, obviously we have gotten into big debates about how important having 2 first-round picks are and whether or not we would consider trading one of them for a head coach. That was Mike Tomlin earlier in the week. Or whether or not we would use that second first-round pick to trade up in the draft to get what? To get a quarterback. Mm-hmm. To get maybe the top quarterback in this draft, right?
Okay.
So we've had those conversations. But you have said what? Talent. Can't afford to give up, say, that second first-round pick for a head coach because we need the talent. All right. And I don't disagree at all. I wouldn't want to have to give up that up to get a coach. So I kind of agree with you.
All right. So where are we going with this?
Where do you think the Browns, when the season is over, where do you think that they will be picking in the NFL draft? Their own pick.
I don't know. Where are they at right now?
Right now, they are
I don't
fifth.
know where they're at right now.
Yeah, I got to look.
Okay, if they're fifth, then...
They're fifth.
Well, if they lose against Tennessee, probably third or second, somewhere in there.
So there could be a way...
if they lost against Tennessee, Tennessee would only be a 2-win team. Yeah, so Tennessee... So I don't know if it does you any good to lose Tennessee. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, I can tell you where I'm going with it is they have a chance to put themselves in position to where they could get the quarterback they want and not have to trade up to get them. And that is tanking from here on out. They have a chance by losing to Tennessee. Tennessee is sitting there right now at 1-11. You have 3 wins, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. You look at the schedules and everything. If you want to ensure that you get the best quarterback, you obviously can just keep losing games.
What a sad-ass discussion this is going to be.
And so I would ask you, if you don't want to give up any more talent than you have to, why would it not make sense for the Browns just to lose every game they can, including this week against the Titans?
Because you have to go out of your way to lose this game.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. They're terrible. Anthony, you know they're terrible. You're going to be 4-9. Just be ready for it.
They have another game. Tennessee has another game against the Saints as well.
What's that got to do with it? They're going to get beat by the Saints. They're terrible.
You're only 3.5-point favorites this week.
Because you're not good yourself.
Right. Well, either the Saints. But yeah, I get.
Neither are the Saints. What's the Saints' records? They're 2-10. Holy Lord Almighty.
And the Saints still play the Jets.
I'm not losing on purpose because that's what you're going to have to do to lose to Tennessee. I mean, I guess they could beat you, but to go out and lose, you would have to do it on purpose. Like, I could understand. They can't just play Browns football. I don't want to do.
They can't just play Browns football and lose this week?
Smart, tough, accountable football, being accountable to lose. Smart. It's tough to go through this. I'd meant to ask Mary Kay. I'm going, is Bubba Ventrone safe through the rest of the year? I wanted to ask her that, and I forgot. I should call her up on the phone. Don't do it, but I should have. You could win this game, and then that's it for the rest of the year. Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Anybody see a win there? Anybody?
The Cincinnati game, if they shut down Burrow.
Why would they shut down Burrow?
Because they might be out of it.
Yeah, but he probably won't be shut down. He'll probably refuse to do it. He's the leader of the football team.
Flacco back, right?
At that point, maybe back to Browning because
maybe
Flacco's not part of their future.
Yeah.
No, if Joe Burrow can play, Joe Burrow's going to play. You're at Cincinnati, so this could be the coup de grace. Go to the game. You could see him win, and Myles Garrett could set the record for single season sacks. That's a fantastic thing to go see. Go see the game. you'd have to lose this game basically on purpose to make sure you lose it, because I think you can go out there and screw up and still win. I didn't say you'd boat race them 30-9. I said I think you can go out there and screw up and still win. Yeah, and make it forgettable.
It's tough. Is this going to be more this weekend? Is it going to be more like the Raiders game where you got 30 pressures, or is it going to be more like the Jets game? Because we thought we would roll over the Jets.
I didn't think you would roll over the Jets. I don't think you'll roll over the Titans. I didn't think you'd roll over the Dolphins, to be honest with you, and you really rolled over the Dolphins. They really did well.
Now it changed their season. The Dolphins went in a different direction after that.
Well, we were the get-right game by beating them.
We thought they were going to fire their coach. We thought there was a mutiny in the locker room, and then they just decided we're not going to put the ball in the quarterback's hands anymore. We're just going to run the ball.
All right. So, what do you want to add? The diabolical question is: should we lose on purpose?
Yeah, you said
is what you're saying.
Well, tank. That, and are they already doing that with the Wyatt Teller stuff?
No.
Are they already doing it?
No.
They're putting worse offensive linemen in the game now.
Maybe we don't know if Tevin Jenkins is maybe. I don't know. No, I don't want to sit there and rip on Tevin Jenkins.
Let me ask you this.
Now Wyatt's actually hurt. So you have to play Tevin Jenkins.
Are they playing the best quarterback that they have on the roster this week?
You can't play Deshaun Watson this week.
I'm going to ask you again. Are they playing the best quarterback?
You can't
on the roster this week.
No, they don't have him available. He's not. No, you're not going to work me into a shoot. They don't have him available.
Why is he not available? He's on the roster and his window's open.
Why are you lowering your standards? Why? Don't do this. Just hope that Tyler Shuck plays really well. Don't do this. Stop being lazy. Why do you insist on being lazy?
I'm just asking.
I should have known that this questions. I don't think anybody. People are going to agree with you because they're lazy. Don't be lazy. Don't do this. Ask more of a professional football team and ask them to be professionals.
Teams tank in sports all the time.
And I think it's lazy.
The Browns did it for 2 seasons.
And what did it get them? We got all this.
It got the first Super Bowl window.
You get cussed out on the internet over a guy who probably ain't even going to be the quarterback next year. Congratulations on your huge win. What else did we get out of tanking for 2 years?
The best player I've ever seen.
We got Myles Garrett, who will call his career, if they can't get a quarterback, we will call the career a waste. That's great.
Denzel Ward, fantastic. Again, say the same thing for him. Got some good Baker years?
Got some good Baker years, and then got rid of him. Lost our minds. Everybody freaked out, got rid of him. Yeah, we got so much out of tanking, didn't we?
Got David Njoku?
It was so great. It was so great. Awesome.
Nick Chubb?
Again, I keep saying to you, and you don't want to answer the question.
Joe Bitonio?
These are great players. Joe Bitonio was not a tank player. They were just bad when they got him. And here we are again. Yeah, go tell Joel Bitonio to lose on purpose in his final season in the NFL. I'm sure he knows it's just going to happen naturally. But the Tennessee game, don't do that. Don't do it. Stop being, guys, don't agree with him. Stop being lazy.
They want to get in. I don't think they do agree with
216-474-0092. All right, first one in, Thomas and Shaker. Quickly, go.
Andy Lima, you're out of your freaking mind, dude. How the heck you going? First of all, we're not losing to the freaking Titans. You're insane. Second of all, why would you suggest tanking? We got 2 first-round picks in the first place, and we only got 3 wins. You are literally insane, dude. How are you going to say?
Hold on, you realize
we're beating the Steelers.
But you realize, Thomas, you might need to use that second first-round pick to get the quarterback you want.
There isn't no quarterback. Come on, man.
Did you hear Dane Brugler? Wait, what were you going to say? There's no quarterback. What?
There's not enough good quarterbacks in this draft.
Well, wait, but that might not matter if you put yourself in position to be at the top where you do get the win.
Thomas, that's what they said last. See, now I'm agreeing with you, and I don't want to agree with you. I wanted to agree with Thomas, but Thomas made a point that I didn't like.
Sorry, Ken.
Yeah. There's always a quarterback. There's always money in the banana stand, and there's always a quarterback in the draft. They always find one. Somehow, some way. Oh, there's no quarterbacks in this draft. Well, where did Jackson Dart come from? Tyler, whatever Shuck's first name is doing fine enough. I'm sorry? Back into the first round. And I understand pick. Nobody was calling in to get him. But I'm saying is don't stop being afraid just saying that it's there's no quarterbacks in that draft. I don't want to have this discussion yet because we're still in this season. But that's what I'm saying, Thomas. Let's just save it. Let's just go out and try to beat the Titans of all teams, for the love of God. The Titans are terrible. Just beat them. There you go. Well, I'd like to beat the Steelers. I just don't think it's really going to happen. I think this is the last one. Thomas, thank you for the call. This is probably the last week of the season. I'm going to pick you to win. This is probably the last week of the season. I'm going to pick you to win. Maybe Pittsburgh. I might meet Thomas halfway on that. Maybe Pittsburgh. We'll see where they're at on December 28th, but still. Because you usually go 1-1 against the Steelers now. 216-474-0092. All right. Do you want to ask them the diabolical question?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, fine. Do you think that Lima has a point? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's lazy. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan.
Brad Evans here to help them.
Monday meeting like a bosses. Let's talk business in my office. Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
Couple of housekeeping things before we get to the phones on your point here. One, do you think there's any chance that Giannis Antetokounmpo comes to Cleveland?
No.
Okay. So we're on the record. I would agree with you. You'd have to trade away the entire franchise, and then he also has to agree to it.
Which you also can't do. The rules are so ridiculous.
You ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Well, you can't do those things, and then he has to agree to it, and he wouldn't agree to come to Cleveland, you think?
No, I think he would.
Oh. Well, then never mind. I can't do the little thing I was going to do then.
But they can't. Put it this way. They are hard capped because of this apron.
Yes.
They can't put multiple contracts for one. It has to be one for one, and they don't have that, so they can't do it. It really is going to kill a lot of the NBA discussion around the trade deadline and the offseason. I think they did all this to prevent the Golden State Warriors from doing what they did with Kevin Durant, but that doesn't even really help you as much as people think. Because the league has changed so much. Just having two superstars, that does not help you win a championship in today's game as much as it did back then.
Mm-hmm.
You have to still have a complete team. But they went too far to correct all this, and now they've killed a lot of the trade discussion.
See, I thought you were going to say he wouldn't come here, and I was going to say, see, me and Giannis have something in common. He wouldn't go to Milwaukee, or he wouldn't go to Cleveland, and I won't go to Milwaukee. There you go.
In all honesty,
I can't do that because you said he would come here, and I go, uh-oh.
I killed
But
it.
if we had to offer you in a trade package, I would absolutely do it. It'd be worth it for these Cavaliers.
Nope, they wouldn't get me.
I just want to be back in that
arena. They wouldn't get me. I'd do the Draymond Green. I'll sit out. You're not going to. No, you don't get me. No.
Bring back the old rules. You can do it like Z. We'll send you packing, and you can come back 11 days later.
Carmelo Anthony, Ken Carman Anthony. Ain't going to happen. You don't get me. I'm going to sit out until you cut me. That's the way that's going to work. I ain't working in Milwaukee.
We don't talk a lot about this.
I ain't got nothing against Milwaukee. I just ain't working there.
We don't talk a lot about this, obviously, because we don't care. But Jimmy Haslam is their majority owner now.
We talk about that a lot. We can.
Well, there's just I don't think fans care about that all that much. And I don't know how.
He's the majority owner now?
Isn't he?
I didn't know he was the majority owner
like
yet.
Rotating who's in charge thing, I think.
Well, either way, he's got to sign off.
They don't, do they?
He's got like our offensive line right now with Wyatt Teller. He's got
different guards every week.
He's got to sign off.
They all flop on the ground.
Not doing right by Shedeur. They're not doing right by Giannis.
He's got to sign off on the biggest items, and that would be whether or not to trade Giannis. I mean, can you imagine when he bought in? Giannis was there. It seemed like he was going to be there for a decade, and they were coming off a championship. What now? Like, it's looking pretty bleak.
Who is the Milwaukee Bucks managing partner? It includes Wes Edens and D and Jimmy Haslam. Wes Edens is considered the co-owner.
Yeah.
So is it still Wes Edens?
I think it told you. It was...
All right. So
it was Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy's in there, but I don't know if it's Wes Edens who makes the final call on these things.
How much money did Jimmy Haslam pony up?
So should we be talking more about...
I think they rock, scissors, paper to find out who's in charge.
Listen, before I get back to your point, should I talk more about Giannis?
No, I don't think we...
Okay.
It's just unfortunately because of the rules. Like when we had LeBron, we got crazy talking about every single player in the league that we coveted. Now it's pointless. It's pointless to even talk about all the players we want because the hard cap isn't about whether or not Dan Gilbert will spend the money. He would. They're physically not allowed to do a lot of the things that you would want to do to enhance your team.
216-474-0092.
I mean, they might trade Jared Allen for a player that's making the exact amount of money that Jared Allen is making or less. But that's about it.
Okay. Let's go to the phones. Eric in Akron, you're first up on the fan. Hello.
Hey, good morning. So I agree with Lima. I don't think middling really works. If, think about the Vikings. Think about I'm sure there's other Dallas. Think about the Chargers. where these teams are just proverbially in the middle. I think you have to kind of bottom out, get your quarterback, and go from there. I thought we should tank before the season. I think we should tank now.
That's silly.
Why is that silly?
I mean, the Dolphins have done that how many times? We have done that before. We've done that before. What has it got on all of us? What has it got all of us?
Got us to the playoffs twice.
It got us Myles Garrett.
Congratulations on a guy that wanted out of here last winter and then has basically, in so many ways, said he regretted signing He didn't say it, but he looks like at times he's regretted signing the contract.
So it's not worth going after high-value talent because they might want out?
No, you can always go after No. It's not worth losing to get high-value talent. No. It's always worth going after high-value talent. It's not worth losing to go after high-value talent. No, don't switch that up to make you win the argument, Eric. That's not how that worked.
Well, how else are you going to get it? I mean, you're more likely to get high-value talent.
How did the Chiefs get Patrick Mahomes? How did the Buffalo Bills get Josh Allen? How did these teams that weren't tanking get these players? How did that happen?
How did we get Brady Quinn? How did we get Brandon Whedon?
Because we were continuously bad. Because we were continuously bad. And those were the second picks, by the way, because you didn't pick the actual quarterbacks you should have taken at the top of the draft. So what's that got to tell you about anything? I'm not saying to take a quarterback at 22nd overall. I'm saying you can use both picks and trade up if you really want to. I'm telling you, it's proven just by what you see that tanking doesn't work. The teams that somehow continuously win, and they're not tanking. When has Baltimore lost on purpose? I'm sorry. Did we or did we not pray at the altar at Joe Flacco 2 years ago, who at one point was their franchise quarterback, and then they went and they got Lamar Jackson, and now he's their franchise quarterback? When at all have the Baltimore Ravens tanked it on purpose? This ain't basketball.
Kyle Buller. I
love you, Eric. Thank you very much for the call.
That was fun.
I like a guy who could work me into a shoot and then immediately defuse it.
Chef here. Sitting in the
Thanks to everybody who joined us today.
I like to rap all the time, knowing that
Did you enjoy the day?
Gonna be better.
Are you happy you got your diabolical question out there?
I'm not happy about this Cavs situation. We've lost Owen. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose the fans of Cleveland.
You're not going to lose me. Owen is a different animal. I love that argument. That was a fun argument. I liked it that you were wrong and that you got a taste of my medicine when you guys gang up on me.
It was a handicap match. I hope you never are in the Cavs front office.
NBA needs to change its rules. Although maybe they're
going to continue to cry second apron.
Are they protecting?
You've been arguing baseball too much because you turned around and blamed it on the fans. You did that with the Cavs there. Got your arguments mixed up.
Are they protecting Dan Gilbert from himself though, making those crazy trades he made at the end of the first LeBron run?
I know my rap is not the greatest ever.
You want Chris Paul?
Wally Zerbiak?
Do you want Chris Paul?
No.
I know that they are always on.
Do you blame him for the blow up in Los Angeles?
No, I blame the startup that had to file for bankruptcy that Pablo Torre had to expose.
That was a spicy one to say. Podcast 10:15 Eastern, 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app. Bye. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.